It's time for MacBreak Weekly. Leo Laporte here with the usual crew, Andy and Alex, to talk about Lion. Here it comes, brand new hardware too, we think, from Apple. A look at Netflix's new pricing structure and a whole lot more. It's all coming up next on MacBreak Weekly.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust. This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for MacBreak Weekly is provided by Cachefly at Cachefly.com. This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 255, recorded July 12th, 2011. I know, I'm not normal. MacBreak Weekly is brought to you by Carbonite. Backing up the files in your PC or Mac is safe and easy with Carbonite. For a free trial plus 2 free months with purchase, go to Carbonite.com. Offer code MacBreak. And by Text Expander from Smile. Save time and effort with Text Expander by typing short abbreviations to insert text snippets you frequently use. For a free demo, visit smilesoftware.com/MacBreak. And by FreshBooks, the easy online invoicing service that gets you paid quickly and makes you look more professional. Get started with a free package at freshbooks.com today. It's time for MacBreak Weekly, the show that covers, you know, your Mac stuff, your deep down, dyed-in-the-rainbow Apple needs. And joining us right now, back from La Jolla, California.
Yes.
What were you doing in La Jolla?
We were doing graphics and shooting for the International Seafood Sustainability Foundation.
Alex Lindsay, ladies and gentlemen, the king of fish.
I learned a lot about tuna. I know a lot about anyway.
Is tuna sustainable?
You know, that was the question that I asked, actually. It is sustainable, but they need to change the way that they're fishing it.
It's not currently sustainable.
The crazy thing is that the ISSF and the groups that are related to it it's an industry trying to regulate itself, and the governments are actually the ones dragging their feet.
I think that's great.
Because the industry is trying to figure out how do we keep tuna working, but they have to get all the governments to agree, and so that's what they're all trying to figure out. So.
As Adam Smith would say, they have a vested interest in the sustainability of tuna.
They had a good graph. It was like, you're making lots of money here. You'll make a little less for a while, but if you don't do this, then we won't make any money.
No money
for a long time.
Right. Also joining us from Mr. Andy Ihnatko from Boston. Hey, Andrew. He's silent. Are you doing that to me on purpose? Are you trying to make me...
I'm sorry. No, I was opening a refreshing beverage for this Beat the Heat, and I thought that perhaps that would have to be a good counterpoint to Alex's description of what he's been up to. Although I was going to say that the sustainability of tuna, oddly enough, is the name of my indie spec script. I'm hoping to not Sundance, but maybe I can get into Slam Dance for sure. Just trying to raise that funding. There's going to be a Kickstarter project.
Well, you know, I always, when I hear weird phrases, think that's my band's name. But I think you're good. Indie spec script. Good. I like that. A little better than a band.
Well, tuna is very important to me because my favorite dish that my wife makes is actually tuna fish salad.
I love
She makes a lot of great things.
But I stopped eating it because it's loaded with mercury. You don't want to eat that high on the fish chain.
I love tuna fish.
It's not good for you.
I gotta say.
You know what? I love tuna tartare. I love ahi tuna. I love seared ahi tuna. I love, what is the hamachi?
Yes.
I love all that stuff. But I don't eat it because I'm worried about the mercury.
I figure I'm going to die of something else, probably.
We want to welcome you to This Week in Tuna. Let us talk about the Macintosh. There are rumors afoot. We've been thinking for a while that Thursday was going to be the day for Lion. Now we're hearing perhaps that Apple stores will close overnight on the 13th. That's usually how they prepare for a new rollout. 9 to 5 Mac has a rumor not only that there'll be a new MacBook Air featuring Thunderbolt and Sandy Bridge, but new Mac Pros, the high end.
I'm very excited about that because we are just about to buy new machines for the new studio. And so I've been holding out. I was like, I can't hold out much longer. I'm going to have to start buying Macs if I don't.
We purchased all of ours. Mac Pros for
Not
the
that
new
you're bitter.
studio. But really, honestly, Alex Lindsay, do you think it matters that much? What is in the new? What do you think the new Mac Pro would have besides Thunderbolt? And I don't really care.
To me, there's two things that I'm really hoping to see out of them. One is Thunderbolt, and the second is a new form factor that possibly would let us rack it.
Rackable would be kind of cool because they did kill the Xserve, so we don't have a rackable Mac.
The dream machine for me would be like a 2U box.
2U is what is 2 units high.
2 units high. So 2U box, maybe
It's
3,
big.
19 inches wide, has maybe two slots in it. I don't need a lot of slots because we're going to have Thunderbolt. We're going to not, that's
don't
gonna,
need slots.
We don't need a lot of slots. And so that's what I'm hoping to see, because that's what we need. Because
Right.
I want to be able to connect those downstairs, have all of our machines in the basement and the monitors upstairs.
I see you sitting in front of an 11-inch MacBook Air.
Yes, it's the old one. I love it.
All right, Thunderbolt, that would make a big difference for you. Sandy Bridge, much faster processors. These processors are very anemic, but really,
I'd
I
love to
think
see a Sandy Bridge in here. I don't really, for this machine,
I don't feel
whether
the
it has
need.
Thunderbolt, I don't really care.
same thing with I have the
It's not what I use
8-way
it
Intel Mac Pro,
Right.
whatever that is. Is it Sandy Bridge? No, it's the predecessor.
Mm-hmm.
But I think 8 cores is fast enough for me. But Thunderbolt could make a difference, and you know what's going to make a difference on that little bugger, that little MacBook Air sitting right in front of you?
Yes.
Backlit keyboard.
Backlit keyboard.
Yeah, I
Backlit
noticed
keyboard.
it.
That's the
last
rumor,
night I was
right?
thinking about it. Yep.
Backlit keyboard. It's amazing that this feature that so many people thought, oh, it's just a frill, oh, it doesn't real, it's the Flash, typical Apple. But then after you have one, you realize that it's only a terrible feature, except for that one time per week that you realize that you cannot use this machine in this lighting situation unless there's a little bit of backlighting.
Wow.
I think people are almost as excited about the idea of backlighting on a MacBook Air as they are about the Thunderbolt port.
I agree. More so, because Thunderbolt still is really more speculative. I mean, it's not like there's a whole lot of stuff that I can't wait to do with Thunderbolt.
There's a lot of stuff that I can't wait to
Well,
do.
you're a very unusual case. You're the edgiest of the edge cases. I mean,
Right.
you're talking about
there's a
video.
lot of-
You're talking about hard drives.
Remember,
you're talking
when we talk about edgy, though, I mean, when you look at the sales, I mean, there were 2 million people using Final Cut, as last count. All of those people and more are going to be interested in a Thunderbolt connection, because that's the being
that's
able to
why I
connect those
can't
things
use
out.
Final Cut. I realize because I need a SAN connection, and I don't think Final Cut 10 has SAN.
Rumor is that that's
Well, Rumor ain't
the
going to help me
process.
right now. I need to actually record, and Rumor won't help me record.
I definitely, and we're not rushing to any new platforms.
Fortunately, we have the licenses for Final
Right.
Cut Pro, and we
Exactly.
Studio. We're sitting there, and we're going to continue to use them. But as I add machines, then we have the decision. Believe it or not, I mean, Jeff Stewart upstairs, one of our most senior editors, is saying, "Well, let's look at Avid. Let's look at Premiere. Let's not look at Final Cut."
Well, and we're gonna take a good hard look at it. We're doing that training. That we're having some of your guys come to.
For Final Cut Pro 10.
Final Cut Pro 10. And that is, so we're going to, but to us, that's us exploring making sure that we know what it can do and what it can't do.
Right.
That's going to be so in August we'll know that.
What else do we speculate? Because we don't know, but what else do we speculate about announcements this week? So concurrent with Lion, new Mac Pros, new Airs, faster processor in the Air, backlit keyboard, Thunderbolt. Obviously, any new Mac is going to have Thunderbolt. How about the Mini? Will we see a new Mini?
Well, a Mini
due.
with Thunderbolt would be a big deal.
Thunderbolt Mini would be very hot.
Because the thing is that there's a lot of things you want to do with it that's a server-like, but we can't interface a lot of the things that we want to interface with it because we don't have a fast enough connection. All we have is USB and FireWire, and so a slightly faster Mini that can be doing a lot of the processing and so on and so forth, I think would be very, very, very useful. So I'm really hoping that we see a Thunderbolt. I'm actually in some cases more excited about the Mini than I am about the Mac Pros. We'll get a couple Mac Pros. We'll get a lot of Minis.
The question is, would they actually do 3 announcements like that at the same time?
I think they will because I don't think they care.
I don't think there'll be announcements. I don't think we'll have any fanfare.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Hoorah.
I don't even mean announcements, but I'm saying I think that they would want to get the attention for the revamped MacBook Airs because there are going to be a lot of people. There are far more people who are going to be in the market for one of those than on a revamped Mini or revamped Pro. Both of those are sort of the milkman's son that we don't talk about because it's on the price list. Apple's happy to sell them. Apple's happy to tell you how many they're selling, but it's never the sort of thing that gets front and center attention anywhere in the store. I'm also trying to figure out if it's going to be this week or next week. Don McAllister made a really good point last week about how they have an analyst call coming up, Apple, on the 19th, and it often makes sense for them to not not actually release these things until after that call, because it's one of the 4 times a year when you can, a room full of analysts and reporters and people who can affect the stock price can ask a direct question of a senior Apple official and demand an instant response. So.
Also Lion, and I'm starting to see now from people like, well, Gizmodo wrote an article, OS X Lion, this is not the future we were hoping for. Starting to see a little negativity about Lion, saying it's somewhat like Snow Leopard, just kind of an incremental addition. I don't know if you can make a big new splashy operating system in it nowadays anyway.
I think Apple was clear a couple versions ago that they were going to slow down the number of innovations that they're doing and work on stability and simplifying the process.
Yeah, this really is like the International Space Station, where it's a brand new thing they started building with 10.0. At some point, you have to say that it's complete, and that now you're just sort of fine-tuning and polishing and adapting it to modern needs, and that you're not ready yet to take this whole thing that you spent 10 years building and scrap it and totally redo it. I can't talk about Lion just yet, but I'm not sure that it would be appropriate to even say that people would even want a 10.7 that is so radically different from 10.6 that you're going to have to throw away all your training and start all over.
So
again.
it's more than 10.7, but less than 11. Is it going to go? Oh, there goes Andy. Wow. Maybe Apple heard him talking about
exactly.
Lion.
He was like, he said Lion, and we haven't released it yet. Get rid of him.
Well, it's pretty clear. I'll say this while Andy's not on, that Andy is obviously looking at Lion and is NDA'd on what he can say about it.
A lot of people looking at it. I mean, all you have to do is have a developer license.
Right. In fact, I intentionally have not done that just so that I can talk about it.
Right.
But obviously there's some advantage, especially if you're in the print media, to having a little bit more advance notice than that.
Right.
We have no lead time here at the
Hello again.
The Golden TWiT.
Yeah,
Hi, Andy. Welcome back. Sorry we lost you there.
I think that I still think that Apple's focus is not on Lion or Leopard or any of the truck software. I mean, I think that they want to keep on progressing it, keep on tightening the bolts, but I'd be really surprised to see anything happen radical in that space ever.
Here's what. So this is.
I don't know about ever. I think the signature thing about 10.7 is not going to be the features that you get with 10.7, but the features that you get with the third party software that ships and takes advantage of all this cool stuff that's built into 10.7.
So it's a hardware plus play. So what will be? Is it Thunderbolt? What is the new hardware that's going to? What about the Air is going to take advantage of Lion? Is it the cloud?
Well, I think that
you said
really.
You actually wrote a great article. I'll give you credit for this, saying that now that Lion's out or coming out and a new Air is coming out, we're seeing really that the MacBook Air. What did you call it?
I called it the iCloud book.
The iCloud book. It's the Google Chromebook that Apple should have shipped, or is it
right. I mean, if you filter the idea of a machine that's optimized to work with a cloud through Apple's sensibility instead of Google's, I really think that the 64 gig $999 MacBook Air is what you get. I think that Apple is genetically speaking, they can't ship a machine that a notebook that costs less than $999. So the idea of a $500 Apple notebook is just not going to happen in this reality. But it really makes a lot more sense to me with iCloud in the picture than it did when I was just looking at the 64 gig machine. 64 gigs is just not a lot of storage to do anything really productive with. You truly have to pick and choose and redefine this thing not as a real notebook but as an accessory. And when you drop this into a brand new world in which you can just simply tag all kinds of things on your desktop, on your office machine, on your real MacBook, if you happen to have one of those as well, simply saying that these are projects and files that are so important that I really do want them everywhere. And now you have this MacBook Air that has a small amount of storage, but it's only going to be receiving stuff that's really important to you anyway. I was actually doing some of the math and working out that if I were to take all my applications with me on a 64 gig partition, I remember that because the iCloud is not going to be hosting your apps. You still have to be running local apps. If I took my entire application folder, if I took all the music all the music and videos I normally carry on my iPhone all the time without having to rely on iCloud syncing, my usual photo library, and all the documents that I would ever have to work with, that will fit very nicely into 64 gigs with 10 gigs to spare. But it would only be really practical if I had the ability to use that machine as an adjunct to my desktop. And so on that basis, whereas I was able to tell myself that, well, Andy, you got an iPad, and you really like that Bluetooth keyboard you're using with it, and you don't need a second one almost exactly like that. But with iCloud in the picture, now I'm thinking that, yeah, but, October, you're going to be, traveling, 38 days out of the month, and it'd be nice to just have that little receptacle for all of your documents and be able to take them with you without having to really actually sync anything back and forth. It's really a tempting machine with iCloud in the picture.
It's been a tempting machine for me all along. I love my Air. I have to say.
I really like it.
I don't even know if I need the backlit keyboard. Yeah. But see, I'm using Dropbox. Actually, you know what? I didn't even know this. And don't yell at me for this, but Microsoft's Windows Live Mesh works great on the Macintosh, and it's 5 gigs. So if you were looking at, it's pretty much the same as Dropbox. So if you were looking at a way to do Dropbox-like syncing on a Macintosh, I could pull it up here if you want to take a look at it. This actually works pretty well with cross-platform. This would be good for somebody who's using Windows or Mac. Point being, we already do have these kinds of cloud services available, right?
Yeah, you can already pick and choose. Nothing's going to be as instinctive as iCloud.
Or transparent, I guess.
Yeah, instinctive, inherent, sophisticated as iCloud. Dropbox works great, but it's still just a remote volume, which is the same stuff we've had since Novell 25 years ago. I think iCloud is really it really is the beans, because I just at some point in the life of this document, I've said that this is important to me, that I want to use it everywhere on every device that I have. And as soon as I've done that, as soon as I've clicked that checkbox, as soon as I've activated that menu item, I never have to think about where this document is ever again, because I know that it'll be on every device that matters to me.
See, that's what bothers me.
I just want that to work, because I have to admit, I have, when I look at sync, I realize I had to speak next week in New York.
But Dropbox works. You trust Dropbox, don't you?
No, I don't use Dropbox.
You don't? See, I think that the problem I have with iCloud, and correct me if I'm wrong, when I have a 64 gigabyte machine like that MacBook Air, I don't really want everything to sync. I want a selective sync. That's what Dropbox does, and as far as I can tell, that is not what iCloud does, right? That's the transparency, is you just get what you get.
No.
I could choose.
Well, the way that iCloud works inherently is not that you have a big volume of storage that's shared between multiple machines. It's that if you select a specific document and say that this is what, again according to the public demos that have been offered so far, if there's a piece of media or a document that you want to have access to everywhere, within that app that you manage it with, within your desktop, within your MacBook, you simply say, please share this on iCloud. And
so it's as granular as document by document.
Exactly. You're simply saying, this is important to me. Please sync this across all my devices. So it's not as though you have to have this one folder. I think that that's actually an improvement on Dropbox, where with Dropbox, there's a way to say that I want you to sync this subfolder, but not the rest of it. My Dropbox folder is, I like it enough that I actually have the 50 gig upgrade on it, and I'm not sure that I would want to necessarily have all 10 or 15 or 20 gigabytes of stuff on my MacBook Air. I wouldn't have room for it anyway. But
that's why you go folder by folder. But I guess document by document's better. Is it default? I know, Andy, that you are not speaking from your own experience, but from published reports. Is it the default that every document does sync, or do you have to remember to check that box?
Based on public statements and things that developers have been showing on their blogs, it's the sort of thing where it'll be supported on an app-by-app basis. Where if this
you get to choose in the app,
so you will have control. It's not as though you'll be surprised three months later to realize that you put all your honeymoon pictures up on iCloud, or that the thing that the report that you edited that you really never wanted your boss to see is actually in a shared folder somewhere.
So yeah, I mean, I guess jury's out until we try it, but
which should be soon.
Which we hope will be Thursday. Now, Jesus Diaz, writing in Gizmodo, and admittedly this is a little bit of link bait, called OS X Lion the Windows Vista of Apple. He says, I don't need Lion, and you probably don't need it either.
I think that
by the way, that's exactly what I said about Snow Leopard.
Yeah,
I was right. Except now you're starting to need it. Now we're starting to see apps, more and more apps that really say you got to run a Snow Leopard.
Well, I think that the other issue is that Apple has made it very inexpensive to move forward. You know, it's $30. It's not $129.
Right. I think
it's not
that's
$300.
good.
It's
Yep.
$30. It's easy to upgrade. And
kind of an unlimited license too, because you buy it on the App Store. So
you just kind of put it wherever you're going to put it, and
Yeah.
so it's almost free to upgrade. The other side of that also is that Apple and other developers will continue to develop for that platform, and you'll feel this pull that, oh, I can't run that, or I can't do this, and they're much more likely to do that because they know that it's cheap.
Right.
They know that it's easy for everybody to upgrade. They can do it on the App Store, they can put it on all their machines, and so why bother have backwards compatibility? We're seeing a lot more of that in the professional apps. We're starting to get this thing that when Lion comes out within a month or two, we're not going to support Leopard.
That'll happen, of course.
You know, and they're gonna, and so that's, I think, is part of what's going to push people, whether they need it or not.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's my take on it is just that it is so cheap, and there are so many. If you think about it in terms of utilities that you will get for free with it, little enhancements that you would probably pay $5, $10 a shot for, there are probably 6 or 7 of them that are just worth getting just for those little enhancements. And then you just know that the next time that you will see a really cool app that will require you to run 10.7, you will have 10.7 up and ready to go. If you're running a 10.5 and you're facing a double upgrade, that's kind of more interesting because not only is it more expensive, but it's also more trouble. And also, if you've gotten by this long without upgrading 10.5, you're probably not going to be convinced that anything new is going to be worth whatever you have to go through in order to upgrade it.
Well, I have a 10.5 machine sitting right next to me, and we didn't upgrade because there was an incompatibility with the driver that we need and use, our audio driver. And I think now it works, but I didn't bother, and I didn't feel any urge to. For one thing, it has Rosetta, and I have a Rosetta application. However, my question, still unanswered, I think. Can I take the DMG file out of Lion and upgrade this 10.5 machine? I know I can't get it on the store because I don't have the store on 10.5, but can I do that?
I think that you can. I think there's a way to back end into.
You can open package contents and extract it. There's a DMG file, which is the full install.
Yeah.
I could put that on a USB key. I can insert that USB key. If I run it, will I then upgrade to Lion on my Leopard?
I believe
not a word from Andrew. Not a word.
This is like password. It's like I'm not allowed to. I have to make you say Dennis the Menace without saying cartoon.
Well, yes. No, I completely understand, and I don't want to put you in a spot, Andy. We actually, while you were off air, I explained to people that Andy likely, although I don't know, has a copy of Lion but is under NDA. And that is usually the case with the printed media because there's a lead time. You need time to review it, so you have time to get that review in the Chicago Sun-Times. Because we're always live and really have no lead time at all, I don't bother with that stuff. And both Alex and I have decided not to get the developer account and not to take a look at Lion for that reason. So we could talk about it.
Well, and there have been a fair number of reports on the web that say that you can actually take this DMG, put it on a DVD, launch from the DVD. You know.
The question is, can I then use it to upgrade Tiger, upgrade Leopard?
Oh.
I don't know. And Web 578 is saying probably accurately in the chat room, although we haven't seen the EULA, that probably would violate the EULA.
You could, you'd violate the EULA,
but I mean, after all, it's not like the.
I don't think Apple's going to come after you. I don't mean, I shouldn't say that, but I don't think that they, this is not their business. Their business is to make their hardware run well.
They are making plenty of money on me on the hardware.
The software.
And the software. I'm not too overly worried.
They're making 30% on the Mac App Store, more and more of which will be easier to use as the Mac. The operating system is just to make your experience continue to improve. Right.
So on the OS 10 Daily has a step-by-step on how to get this DMG file out and making a bootable Lion installer DVD or USB flash drive. First you go to the Lion. You want to get the Lion install ESD DMG file. That's a disk file. It's in the package contents. Easy to get to. You right-click on the Install Mac OS X Lion app, select Show Package Contents. In the Contents directory, there is another directory that says Shared Support. Inside there is the 3.74 gigabyte install esd.dmg. That's all you need. If you double-click it, you will mount the Lion disk image onto your Mac desktop. You can then put in a USB flash drive, launch Disk Utility, erase it, make it an OS X extended journaled format, and then Now that the USB flash drive has been formatted, restore the previously mounted install esd.dmg5 to the blank drive. So you just simply do a restore. That will image that DMG file onto the USB drive. It is going to erase the entire contents of the USB drive, just so you know. And you now have a bootable USB drive that runs the installer. What he doesn't say in this article, I don't think, and let me go down, is say that you can then... There's additional steps, by the way. I'll point you to this. Can you then run it against Leopard or even Tiger and create? I bet you can.
Well, you could update it, or you could just do a clean install, which is...
Well, you can always do a clean install,
that's what
right?
I guess my suggestion, if you're going to move, especially if you're going to move all the way from 10.5, is not to update. You know, this is going to be the time.
You make an excellent point.
You do not want to try to update that. That's going to be ugly. So the thing is that clear out your, wipe your, collect everything.
Right.
Organize everything. Use this as an opportunity to do a little spring cleaning. And install something nice and clean. And you'll find that your computer, it'll be the fastest way to upgrade your computer is to put a nice, clean, new system on it.
Yep.
Because most of our systems get really junked up. It's really a good...
I second the motion.
Oh, and somebody in the chat room is pointing out that the hardware that shipped with Tiger was not Core 2, so Core 2 Duo, so it wouldn't be compatible anyway. So the best you could do is upgrade Leopard. Is that right? All right. Anyway, that's what they're averring. That's what he's averring in the chat room. Blakentosh. His name ends in Tosh. He must know what he's talking about.
Well, yeah.
If your name ends in Tosh, I'm going to presume...
Peter Tosh, unbeknownst to many people, good reggae man, excellent IT guy.
Oh,
too.
man.
Very,
he's the
very
guy.
focused.
Yeah, he's the go-to guy.
Him and not the IT man.
Anyway, I got this iMac. I probably will do exactly what you said, which is wipe it and install Lion on that.
I do that with every upgrade.
I don't know. A weird thing happened to me. I got the new 27-inch iMac. By the way, sweet. And I have the 256 gig SSD drive. And the
is it snappy?
Yes. Snappy is a good word. It is very, very nice. If you can go see it, it's in the new studio. It's going to be my go-to computer in my new office. But now maybe I accidentally dragged the utility folder to the trash, but I don't see a utility folder in the app folder, which is a little disconcerting. So I guess I'll be doing a clean install on that one as well.
It's always that, There's...
But what I did was that I made the data drive be the spinning drive, as one would expect, and the 256 gig is the apps and OS 10. So it's going to be trivial. I'm not even touching the app. I mean the data partition, because it's a separate drive. So a clean install will be a fairly simple thing for me to do.
Right.
Let us move along in just a bit. New pricing from Netflix, and a few people not too happy. But right now I'd like to talk a little bit about somebody I love, and that's the good folks. Hello, Gene. At Smile Software. We love Smile Software. And let me see. They wanted me to talk about Text Expander today. They have great programs. But I don't know.
I just realized when you said that, I was like, this little computer. One of the things that's been driving me crazy is that I have Text Expander on my other machine, and I haven't installed it. And I was wondering. I was like, is this on the
Text Expander?
Well, I didn't install it on this machine, and it's making me crazy because it's like when someone asks what's your mailing address, I have mail ad, and boom, it's there. I don't have to. So there's all these little shortcuts that I have built in for all those things that people ask for all the time, and I don't.
I like the little bubble sound, although I have to turn it off on these machines because when I was first doing this and I had audio coming from my Macs, people would say, "What is that bloop sound?" Because you'd hear it like 5 times on a show. Because Text Expander, I use it all the time for my email. I just type a couple of letters and boom, it fills in my shipping address or my contact information, or even a whole email saying, "Sorry, I can't answer your question." That kind of thing. I mean, it's just fantastic. Now, here's one of the things I really like about Text Expander. It supports Dropbox. So this is the new Text Expander that is one of the main reasons to go to Snow Leopard is this new Text Expander. It's just fantastic. And if I go to the preferences, I haven't set it up on this machine intentionally. I'll click Synchronize Message Dropbox. Now, I'm going to link to Dropbox, and all my snippets come in off Dropbox. So awesome. Now, all of a sudden, let me just reopen Text Expander so you can see it. All of my snippets, all of my expansion. By the way, there's the bubble sound. Love that bubble sound. You have other choices, but I just like the bloop. All of my snippets from Text Expander are automatically synchronized. So I have a whole bunch of them. This is the Tidbits autocorrect dictionary. By the way, that was not there. You remember, I deleted all the snippets.
Right.
These are all coming from my Dropbox. Accented words, so next time I type angstrom, it'll actually have the right little umlaut and whatever the hell that is on the A.
You can never find those on the keyboard. They're there.
Doppelganger.
Yeah.
I've got all these great symbols. It's so easy. You just type, if I type /equals, I get a does not equal. If I type plus minus, I get plus minus. If I type HHEART, I get a little heart. If I type AAPLE, I get a little apple. All my email boilerplate is in here. And this is the ones that were just kind of floating along for the ride. I mean, Text Expander is fantastic. Whoops, I just disabled it.
There are so many, and there are so many letters that are kind of like form letters that you just kind of,
all the time.
I have NFR requests or test requests or whatever, and I sit there and there's just long, and I have for different, shows and different whatever, you just type it in and boom, it's all there, and then I just fill in the little.
This is fun too.
It's awesome.
This is fun too. Now, I don't use this machine for typing because it's too far away. The keyboard's like across from me. But there have been 19 snippets expanded, saving me 418 characters and 0.02 hours at 80 words per minute. So you actually, if you look at text, if you've been using it for a while, like on my main machine, this is thousands and thousands of characters, many hours saved. So you need Text Expander. Let's face it, a Mac without Text Expander is like a day without sunshine.
Yes.
A kiss without a mustache, a fish without a bicycle. You need Text Expander, and I want you to try it absolutely free for 30 days. Go to smilesoftware.com/MacBreak. I think Text Expander has been a MacBreak pick.
Are you doing the same thing I'm doing where you're repurchasing apps on the Mac App Store?
I did, yeah.
Because I just realized, I bought it, but I was like, I'm just going to buy it again so I have it on the Mac App Store.
I do it, and then it's on everything. So if you downloaded it from Smile Software and now you want it on your app store, you can just buy it there too. Buy it twice; it's not expensive. But you can get it free right now for 30 days. Text Expander 3. It's got form snippets. So you can now do variables. Did you know that?
I have not done that.
That's a new feature, and I haven't really done it. But you can
say,
"Here's a form, and now here's the boilerplate, and now here's the 3 things that you want to add to that to customize it." You didn't know about that, did you? I know. I love it, and I love the Dropbox support.
Oh, man,
$35. That's the regular price. Try it free right now. SmileSoftware.com/MacBreak, and Don McAllister did a great screencast on this, which is on the Smile Software page. And there, Merlin Mann on his blog on Kung Fu Grip, he's the guy who really taught me everything I know about Text Expander. He's got a new one on this new feature.
Everything about doing something really fast. It's all about Merlin.
Yeah. No, it's if you're still doing email, and I think there's a move afoot to eliminate email entirely, which I'm about to adopt.
We've moved like a huge amount away from email.
Yeah.
Like all of our company stuff now is not in email.
But anytime you use a computer, there's stuff that you type again and again and again.
Oh, yeah.
It's so great. Didn't you love how I populated all the snippets just right out of Dropbox? I just love that. SmileSoftware.com/MacBreak. Wish I could do that with the lower thirds. It would save me a huge amount of time.
No, I worry about how dynamic those would be. I'd be talking about, but the thing you really have to understand about Apple is that they have a personality unlike that'd be suddenly super say, hold on, he'll be wanting to sub soon. If not, don't worry, people. I'll cut him off. And I'm giving you another 10 seconds. Just /AIR/Ihnatko rant.
So this is interesting. Something else in Lion that might solve my problem. You tell me, Alex Lindsay. Built into Lion, the XSAN file system, allowing any Mac with appropriate connectivity to access an XSAN volume. Is this why it's not in Final Cut Pro 10? Because if I'm running Lion, but an XSAN is Apple's proprietary hardware, which they no longer sell, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the solution yet until it comes out and we test it.
So does it mean I have to use an XSAN to make that work?
I don't know until I test it.
Somebody else said that there's a workaround if you create a sparse image on the SAN. The SAN, folks, for those who don't know, and I didn't know until recently, is a high-end storage area network. It's like a Drobo or RAID array that has very high availability fiber connections to these machines, looks local on each machine. So what we do right now, I'm recording to the SAN from a Final Cut Pro instance down here in the studio. As soon as I press stop, that recording is available upstairs to the editors. I don't have to move files around over the network or anything. It's just there, and it's fast enough that they can edit. I can record at the same time, and we can have multiple editors working off the SAN. It's $20,000, which I'm also told is cheap. I got a cheap SAN.
We had one in the office for a test, and it was awesome. I mean, it was like we were like, oh my, we felt like we were really living. And then when they were about to take it away, we were like, so how much does this cost? I think we need to keep this.
They
were like, it's $65,000, and I was like, here you go. It's right there. You can put it in this box. So
I think it's the single most expensive piece of equipment in the studio, but it saved us so much time. You really need it, and if Final Cut Pro doesn't support it, that's going to be a problem. Anyway, apparently the workaround, I'm not sure I would adopt this, is to create a sparse disk image on the SAN, which you mount on the Mac, and then you can edit.
I think I'm of the thought is to move slowly into Final Cut X and allow Apple to make some upgrades and make some adjustments before you start doing too many heavy workarounds.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have what you need, don't try to bend your entire SAN system so that you can make Final Cut X work. I think that
it's too important.
You're fishing for shark there.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
How about this virtualization? Arnold Kim writing on. I love Arnold. He's brilliant at MacRumors.com. Apple is going to allow in Lion multiple virtual copies of OS X on the same machine.
That's a huge deal for so many people.
Yeah.
What is that? Why would you do that, Andy?
Well, that's a huge admin thing where the people who have to support multiple configurations, and so if you're administrating a couple hundred Macs, and you've got some people who are outfitted just for really heavy production, some people who are outfitted with a different version of the OS because they're using older hardware, and you need to make sure that you basically have all these configurations set up and running and double checked. You can have multiple Macs essentially on one Mac Pro and always be tabbing between one and the other. The other cool thing is that it does mean that there are some people whose operating system is a virtualization environment where they don't even really think of having a main OS and then alternative OSs that run under virtualization. So the ability to have multiple instances of the Mac OS on the same box at the same time without having to result to any skullduggery is a big win for a lot of people.
So no, Andy, they're both running. Both the operating systems are running at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. So this is like virtual. This is like VMware.
Well, you actually apparently, according to this post, according to Arnold Kim, you need VMware or Fusion. You need Fusion or Parallels. You need a virtualization software in addition. This doesn't provide that.
But it provides you because there's a bunch of things that we do, like for instance VPN. We do all of our key servers for the Pixel Core. When we provide people software, our members have all access to lots of software. And to control all of those, a lot of times we're using the PC side of things because we want to run multiple instances of Windows, right. Because we haven't been able to instance the OS X. So it looks like that'll be I can see why that solution will be important.
Okay. This is something that you could do on server until now, but you couldn't do on the client. And now I guess are they getting rid of server edition? It sounds like Lion is both server and maybe that's what's going on. It's just like one thing. Yeah. Okay. Netflix kind of pissing people off here.
Making adjustments.
Making adjustments. You gotta, I have to say, and I'm not sure why this happens, but every night around 5 o'clock, my Comcast cable really slows down in my neighborhood.
Mine does too.
And it stays slow till 10 p.m.
Yeah. And
I'm thinking
it's Netflix.
They're doing what I'm doing. Yeah. They're all watching Netflix.
Yeah. No, I've noticed at 4:30.
So it's not. Yes, right around 4:30, just dies.
Everyone gets home, all the kids start watching.
Comcast has to put some more bandwidth on there. We're probably sawing the same head end.
I don't think Comcast needs to do anything. I think that Sonic needs to bring that gigabit that they have up.
Yeah, I might switch to Sonic.
I am so ready for that gigabit.
You got to wonder with more, what is it, 40% now of primetime traffic is Netflix? Yeah. You got to wonder how long before this it's good. It's actually bringing infrastructure to its knees.
Yeah, that was the thing that really struck out at me about these changes that they're making. Where the reason why so many people are upset is that right now, if you want to get DVDs by mail, but you also want streaming, essentially you're buying the streaming for $7.99 and you get the DVD service for $2 more. Now they're splitting that up, saying that if you want to get DVDs, that's $7.50. If you want streaming, that's also $7.50.
So basically, you're going to $16 for streaming plus.
Right.
DVDs.
So now that's technically that's an increase for the same amount of money. But the significant thing I think of that announcement is that not only are they breaking those out into two distinct and equal products, but also they're putting the DVD business under one management team. They're putting the streaming business under their own management team.
Yeah. Do you know what they call the management team for the DVD business?
The legacy.
They call
team.
it the pasture.
So I mean, I think it's become really clear. If you are a streaming Netflix viewer, no change. If you're just paying the $7.99,
which is
no change.
Yeah.
It's just that if you're both streaming and DVD, as I am,
the funny thing is, I get a DVD. I get a DVD, and I send it back every once in a while. Oh yeah, I got to put that DVD back. And then another one shows up, and I'm like, oh, okay.
It's going to save me money because that's going to push me into canceling the DVD, which I should have done long ago, as you should have.
Yeah.
Right?
I've had 3 DVDs sent to me in 4 years.
Yeah. So I think what Netflix is, I don't think this is a price increase. I think this is a pivot.
Right.
Netflix is saying we are streaming.
Right.
Well, I think it's that it's more convenient to have 2 distinct branches of the same company. For one, it means that it gives them some agility in how they're going to run each part of the business, because it's clear that these 2 businesses are on divergent paths. They're not branches of the exact same service. It also makes me think, getting back to the point about how much traffic every night of primetime programming is being served by Netflix, it makes me want to look into what sort of government oversight and regulation they'd have to follow if they decided that they're going to define themselves as a broadcast network, as opposed to simply a guy who does a company that delivers DVDs digitally via IP. Would it be not possible for them to make a whole bunch of moves they want to make over the next couple of years if they're also in the physical DVD business? There's so much. They're the major brick wall that I often run into when I look at stuff like this is I don't know anything about how corporate law works. And it's always fascinating to me when I talk to an attorney who works in this business, and they can tell you, no, the reason why that they pulled out of this market specifically is because, believe it or not, there is a regulation that says that if your company is in the food business in any way, shape, or form, you cannot operate in this state and still get this tax statement. So if you simply take this part of the business, this part of the online store that has foodstuffs, and make it their own brand, all you have to do is incorporate it that way, and suddenly you can save $1.8 million per quarter.
So you think if they're only doing streaming, they don't have to worry about state taxes, but if they're sending physical discs, they might, something like that along those lines?
Something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't some sort of advantage to just simply structuring the company that way, where you have 2 separate divisions that are in 2 separate business. One is digital and one is DVD delivery.
Well, one of the things is to get those DVDs to you quickly, they need to have fulfillment centers all over in every state. Yeah. And so now they're a taxable entity in every state. If they are an internet company, they only have to pay the taxes in the states that they have a physical location. And so the issue is that could save them tens of millions of dollars. But I think the other thing is that I think this is going to be there's 2 things that I think we should applaud this for. One is,
it's funny because you're the only one applauding. I got to say, there's such pain.
Okay.
And I agree with you. I think it's just a reshaping of the business, that the movie industry is pushing them into this.
I don't think the movie industry is pushing them into this, because I think
they prefer streaming.
Not Netflix streaming.
Well, no, but what it's doing is it's reflecting what the movie industry's interests are, which is there's the Blu-ray camp and there's a streaming camp, and I think you don't see a lot of these very few new releases go right into streaming. They're at Blu-ray. What the movie company would like to do is get you both times.
Well, but the thing is here's what's going to happen here. By separating these out, people are going to start choosing between plastic and online streaming, and they're going to stop. I haven't had a DVD player working in my house for 2 or 3 years.
You're an outlier.
I know, but
I think a lot of people are just getting their first Blu-ray player.
My parents got
which by the way comes with Netflix.
Yeah. Well, but my parents got Netflix, and immediately they're downloading stuff, and they're not getting as many DVDs. The thing is this is by making you choose. You're no longer going to have.
Well, they don't make you
choose.
You can do both.
I know, but a lot of people are going to go, well, if I have to choose between them, I'm just going to do the online because that's a little more convenient. And then what happens is they stop using their DVD player, they stop having it in the living room, and then that kills off the Hollywood business.
I don't think so. I think there's plenty of people who say, I want the extras, because you don't get DVD extras on streaming.
True.
I want the high quality of Blu-ray because you don't get 1080p. Well, they may make better extras maybe, but I don't think they think they're making bad extras. You think they are.
The only reason I buy a DVD
You're an
is
outlier. I know, you are not like a normal person. You understand that.
Also realize that you can't take Netflix streaming with you in the car when you're driving the kids hither and yon over the next couple of weeks to all the errands that you go on. So there's always going to be a room for DVD.
I suspect what happened, and I could tell you right now, in the Netflix headquarters, they're all going like this. Okay, it's going to be a storm. There's going to be some poo-poo coming from the sky for the next 6 weeks. Just batten down the hatches, hold on, because 6 weeks from now when that storm is over, and by the way, we're seeing the storm, people are furious, it's going to actually work out great for everybody involved. Those people who just want streaming will just get streaming. Those people who love the Blu-ray will get the Blu-ray. There are a few people who want both. Look, $16 a month is still less than you probably paid for VHS rental. Well, I mean, my late fees alone were twice that.
When I'm using Netflix, the thing that I want is actually for them to move all of the prices up a little bit so they can pay Hollywood more, so I get more movies that I want.
I don't think it's not about. I don't think it's about money for Hollywood.
It is, because they're making nothing on Hollywood's making nothing on the streaming.
But Hollywood is working I think more strategically than that. I think that if they want to put Netflix out of business, that's they're really putting pressure on DVD. They hold back a movie for 30 days from Netflix. They totally control Netflix. Netflix operates at Hollywood's mercy, I believe, right now.
Yeah, but Hollywood is a frog sitting in water that's getting slowly
Well, I understand, but
they're and so I
right
think
now
they're
they have the
kicking
upper
around.
hand with Netflix. They control absolutely. That's why there's only not crap, but there's less first run stuff on streaming. That's why they say to Netflix, yeah, we'll give you the movie 30 days after it's on DVD in the stores. They totally control that. What is Netflix leverage with Hollywood?
Well, Netflix leverage is 40% of bandwidth in the evening. I mean, it's the fact that
that's why Hollywood's playing it both ways. They're encouraging the streaming because in the long run they prefer streaming because there's no piracy issue. It's lower quality, so maybe they'll still sell the Blu-rays. I think streaming is good for Hollywood.
Not only that, but it's sort of like the Gazelle.com for old movies and TV shows. They have this old content that they own outright.
Exactly.
That's generating no revenue for them whatsoever. The fact that Netflix will put them on means that suddenly old episodes of Columbo and Murder She Wrote and
Star
Rockford
Trek.
Files. And Rockwell. Star Trek's a bad example because it was already valuable, but Rockford Files is just doing nothing.
I agree.
I think it's
incremental income for them.
It's free money, is how I heard one exec describe it to me.
I think
in other words, the movie industry is getting exactly what they want.
The one issue that the movie industry, I think, is some people will talk about when you're in Hollywood is the lack of constraint on supply. And so, like, for instance, Next Generation came out on the 1st, July 1st. Star Trek Next Generation is released. I now don't really need to get something new for months. I mean, I'm going to go through, I'm going to watch Next Generation from the first episode to the last episode slowly over the next couple months because I just want to, there's so many that I just kind of want to go back and watch all in one continuous thing rather than the mess that I watched them in the first round. And the thing is that by having this, even if they're not all first run, by having this huge collection that I have access to, I'm less likely to go out and buy DVDs. I'm less likely to go to the movies. I'm less likely to, do all of those things that Hollywood would like me to do on a day-to-day basis because I can kind of fill up my time. It gets into that whole great versus good enough.
Yeah, the danger of Netflix to the industry is that it truly convinces everybody that a lot of the consumer patterns that they've been in for the past 10 or 20 years just don't make any sense to them anymore. That it's no longer really important that they get to they get to see Avatar as soon as it's released on home video because it'll come around eventually, and there's probably about 9 other movies that are just as entertaining, or at least sitting down on the sofa with a couple of friends, you just want to watch something. You don't no one's going to storm out because, you told me we get to see Avatar. You can't see Avatar now, and we're leaving. But you'll probably find maybe even an episode of the Rockford Files. Or you'll be able to see a Pixar movie. You'll be able to see The Conversation. You'll be able to see Secretariat.
There's also, which we didn't mention, there's income to them from cable on demand too. By making it available to cable on demand. First, look at it. This is what the movie company wants to do. Milk it, right? So first run DVD, Blu-ray, stores only. Then cable, and maybe sometimes day and date cable if they pay them enough money. Otherwise, it goes to on demand. Then later Netflix, and then later Netflix streaming. And possibly, if they do it right, they can get you 4 times. I mean, I think that they're making a ton of money on cable on demand. They're not going to dump that yet.
Well, I think you talk to a lot of executives, though, and to them it's pennies on the dollar compared to what they were making when people were building up big DVD collections.
Well, that's my other point.
And everything else is that
people are complaining the $16 a month is still a lot cheaper
right
than anything you've been doing up to now.
Right.
I mean, I mean, that's what's going to happen is people are going to go, oh, well, wait a minute. Yeah, it's $16 a month, but
And if you want a great service, the thing to do right now is not to leave Netflix because they changed the price by $7. It's to not buy anything other than watch it on Netflix and keep on
put
pushing
the economic pressure.
Put the economic pressure on. Like, this is what we want to. You're much better off paying $20 a month and not doing any a la carte. Than you are paying, but that takes the users, and that's part of the reason that I very rarely buy anything online from on demand or Apple TV or whatever, is that I don't want that model to be successful.
Also because you start to question your traditional buying patterns. I have come to realize how rarely I truly need to own a piece of media. If something's available for rental for $4.99, I can buy it on Blu-ray for $22. I'll rent it once. If I want to see it again, I'll rent it a second time. If I rent it a third time, and then that's pretty much does me for the rest of the year, I'm still $8 or $9 ahead. I bought the John Adams miniseries from HBO only because it was 50 hours of content that I could then rip and put on my iPad, and I think that was the first DVD I bought in about a year.
Well, and I have to admit that I've been winding through, like, for instance, I've been going through Dexter from the beginning to end, and they took it off. The first two seasons were on Netflix, and then they took it off of Netflix, and then this is exactly what Hollywood wants, is that was the one where I was already in the middle of it. The hook was set, and so now I've been buying them on iTunes in HD, but I think
what happens is
trying to make work.
What happens is it depends on the content.
Yeah.
So some content you want Blu-ray. Some content streaming's fine. I mean, it just depends. Some content you see in the theater, right?
Yeah.
It really depends on what. I mean, I want to see Harry Potter in the theater because it's going to be a big screen thing. I may buy the Blu-rays down the road. I mean, I think this is not. I think this is.
I do not like feeling like I'm being manipulated, though.
You are
with the
Sorry,
Transformers.
bad news.
No, I know. I used to be the manipulator, so I understand. I mean, it was like, there was a seasonal recurrence, and burn rotations and hot rotations,
Absolutely.
and I mean that was all of us hooking you. And okay, we got Depeche Mode coming up right after the commercial break, and I mean, I know what that is. It's just
welcome to the
welcome to the music industry, or welcome to the entertainment industry.
Welcome to business.
Yeah, that's how you
it's
do
business
it.
1.0.
Yeah.
We all have a fiduciary responsibility to maximize value to the shareholders. If I had shareholders, I'd be maximizing their value too.
Exactly. I don't like to be maximized.
You know what the good news is? I'm too stupid to really make the connection between making money and what I do.
Yeah.
So I have no idea.
Right.
So it's just like, yeah, well, as long as I get a paycheck, I guess I'm all right.
Exactly.
I'm doing things that are, from a business point of view,
not making.
Not a
But
good
in the long sense, I mean, I do the same thing. I mean, I'm completely passion
we're in it for the
driven.
we're in it for the fun. We're in it for the
most
lulls.
of our podcasts, your podcast do well. But most of my podcasts don't make any money. It's just we do them because we like to do them.
Do you think I look at a podcast and say, "Oh, I'm going to do that one because I can make money," and I don't want to do that one, I can't make any money? No,
there's no measurement. There's us going. This looks like a lot of fun. Do we
looks
have
like
anyone that
fun.
can do it? Yeah, let's go. Let's work it out.
I'll do it for the lulls.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to take a break, come back, and talk about iOS 5. We know more. Ooh. Much more. And maybe some rumors about the new iPhones, which I keep floating and everybody keeps shooting down. I don't know. I'll keep doing it.
I have a sound effect for the online folks. They have to guess.
Okay.
We love you.
What is that from?
Just keep listening, and in a moment, we'll explain what is.
That's the phrase that pays. Listen for the next 10 minutes. Next time you see the TWiT party van.
What is that from? If you're listening.
All right, keep listening. I don't know. Meanwhile, a word from Carbonite. We were talking about the cloud. There is a cloud service out there that really is a useful tool for anybody on a Mac or Windows, for that matter. Backs you up, keeps your data safe, makes it available online whenever you want it, does versioning. Actually, I think maybe the Windows version does versioning, but not the Mac version yet. Just a lot of great features. I can't remember. There's also a new Carbonite for Business. I just tell you, these guys are hitting it out of the park. They really know what they're doing. When it comes to backup, it's just the way to go. It's automatic, so you don't have to think about it. Very important. It's off-site, so even if the worst happens, you've never lost any data. And your data is always accessible. From any computer, just log into your Carbonite account, or your smartphone, Apple, Android, even BlackBerry. You get your files back in just a few clicks, and because they're encrypted on the way up, you're always private, and you can add additional encryption as Steve Gibson calls it, pre-internet encryption to make sure that only you can see your data. And all that for just $59 a year, unlimited. That means all the data on your internal hard drive, unlimited amount, even if you have one of them big 2 terabyte babies.
I got a big hard drive.
Although, you know, it does...
And he cannot lie. All of the...
I have to say, yes. I have to say, there are people, I get emails from sometimes say, you know, I'm backing up 3 terabytes on Carbonite. It's just taking the longest time. Well, what do you think? You're using your internet access. You might want to think about how much data you're putting up there. Put the stuff that you really need to get. It is online after all. And Carbonite's, very gentle with both your connection and your CPU. So you don't want to know that it's doing its stuff. It's doing it in the background. It won't hog your internet connection. So, that's why they give you 2 weeks free. Try it. See how it goes for you. Go to Carbonite.com. Use the offer code MacBreak. No credit card or anything needed. Just try it for 2 weeks and see how it works for you. Usually, for most people, that 2 weeks is enough to back up your entire data set. And now, from now on, it's easy to stay updated. If you decide to buy, $59, and we'll give you 14 months for the price of 12 when you mention Carbonite.com. 14 months for the price of 12. 2 free months when you mention MacBreak, that is. Carbonite.com. Offer code MacBreak. It's a real lifesaver on laptops. I don't, as soon as a laptop goes into production for me, it's got Carbonite on it. Really is the way to do. iOS 5. A couple of things about iOS. First of all, according to Read Write Web, iOS owners buy 61% more applications. Is that a surprise? It's been that way on the Mac too. Mac users buy more apps. That's why it's good to develop for the Mac. The average
We're good
price,
consumers.
You could say, some might say, well, they paid more for the Apple in the first place. They're maybe more willing to spend money on quality. Maybe they have more money to spend. The average price for iOS applications is now $1.44. That's up 14% year over year. Consumers are buying 61% more apps this year than they did last year. This is from Piper Jaffray. And today's iOS device owners will download, on average, 83 applications in a year, up from 51 in 2010.
That's a lot of applications.
83 apps. How many apps are on your iPhone?
You don't want to know. I don't know how many are on my iPhone.
You know that you can do a usage. Go to the settings and usage, and it'll tell you how many apps.
Okay.
Let me see the chat room. Check. How many apps are you running on your iPhone? I bet our audience is far more than 83.
Where is it? Is it under general?
Yeah, general, usage. It'll tell you how much storage you're using, how many apps you got on there, all that stuff.
I don't see. I see usage.
183, 168. This is the chat room.
Where is that?
158, greater than 300, 206, 55.
I believe you want in about, not usage.
I'm sorry, about. Thank you.
And 232.
232 for Andrew Ihnatko. 437 from Web 1261. 267 from iPad Matt.
237.
237 for Mr. 483 on his iPod Touch. 945 on X942's iPad.
Oh, I misread. I left out the leading 2. It's actually 2,232.
How many? I don't know if there's a limit.
Since we're just throwing out numbers here without any
Hey,
proof.
I believe these people.
Okay.
You think they're inflating their numbers? Well, now they are. 9.15 billion. Okay, enough. Scoble did this once, and he said that the average user is somewhere around 100, which I think is accurate. But the geek, it's often double that, and we've proven that here today.
I really wish that, actually, I should double check. I really wish that iTunes could track number of launches the way that it can also track number of plays, because that would really help me to organize the apps that I actually use all the time. I can name probably the top 8 apps off the top of my head. But there are others that just don't ever bubble to the surface until I'm in that one instance in which this thing is the only thing that will actually do the job for me.
Number of apps, Apple. I thought Apple had 500,000, but according to this article in Read Write Web, it's 425,000. Maybe the 500,000 was total and 425,000 active apps. I'm not sure the difference. Android, just 200,000 apps. I think anything over maybe 150,000 apps is probably sufficient.
I just, I find myself changing the way what I look for in an application.
It's so hard because it's a needle in a haystack.
But with the new Mac App Store and with iOS and everything else, I've noticed that I used to want an application that did everything I needed to do, and now I want every application to do just the thing.
I think that's the correct answer.
There was a developer showing me one of their apps, and I was like, whoa, 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 you're doing too many different things here. I only want I want a $6 app that does exactly what I'm asking for and integrates well with other apps. But it's almost the old, remember the old conversation about, what was it, Doc? This was in the 90s,
Dashboard?
like Rhapsody. What?
Dashboard?
No, when they were talking about Rhapsody a long time ago, you know, in the 90s when they were talking about OpenDoc, you know, where you're able to have lots of little applications that integrated with each other, and it's not quite the same, but I have this, you know, I want each application.
Corba, application.
I absolutely agree. I've been looking at photo apps for an upcoming column, and there are some really nice camera apps that have like 800 functions to them.
Yeah,
they're simple and they're straightforward and they're useful. But you know what? When I'm in the when I'm in a mode where I really need that feature where the shutter doesn't trip until the thing is steady, I don't think I'm going to launch this one app and then access this one feature within that app. I think I'm going to launch that app that works that way. And I've got, instead of a single all-in-one app, I really want 5 separate apps that just focus on making panoramas, just focus on low-light photography, one that just focuses on yes, I know that Apple spent $8 million developing a really cool camera, really accurate camera in a package, but here's how to make your photos look like crap.
Somebody says,
I want those as separate things.
Somebody just said, could you end soon so we can get Lion? I don't think it'll be right after we end. Maybe it'll be a couple of days after we end. Here's the important point. And I think
chat room, how much is it worth to you? Leo's got
I can pull this show. I can start the show right now.
Yes, your donation's here. If you
On the plus side, it's not like we're going to be killing hostages until we get what we want. We're just going to delay these things.
You know, how much do you want, Lion?
We could get hostages, okay? I'm not saying we couldn't get them. We just choose not to. So, Leo, is there a URL that you'd like to...
Speaking of hostages, this is actually the seminal point Chris Whitmore, Deutsche Bank, makes. With the average of $100 content on every Apple mobile device, he says it's increasingly difficult for users to justify the switch from iOS to a competing platform. You've got an investment now.
I've got a lot more than $100 invested. I mean, I realized I went through I went through the thing and started doing a calculation and realized that I had spent about $1,500 on applications on my iPhone and iPad. And I was like, and that means that I'd feel like I'd have to replace, I don't have to replace all of them because a lot of them were dead ends.
But that makes it sticky.
It makes it really sticky. You know, it is really hard. And I think that that's different because people are buying a lot more apps on the iOS than on Android. Android has a much larger free market, which they're trying to move. But I think there seems to be some kind of cultural thing there of getting stuff for free on Android.
Ikar Doshinsky in our chat room says, I never did the math on how much I've spent until now, and now I'm depressed. But it ties you right in. You might not want to do the math if you're thinking about a different...
Well, there's just a lot of apps I use on a daily basis that I just don't know if I don't want to find another one. You know, I think that's the issue.
I have to say, increasingly, and I say that as a dual platform user, everything you can do on one, you can do on the other.
I just have to buy it again. That's the problem. Is that once you start to choose it, it's not. I know that I could do it on Android. I'm buying an Android as soon as the Galaxy 2S comes out.
Right.
So I'm getting an Android phone, but I'm not going to feel the need to replace everything on my iPhone on my Android. I'm just going to get some new apps that I like on the Android.
The good news is that most Android apps are free. Android does not have the ecosystem. They're often ad supported. For instance, Scrabble. Right. EA just put Scrabble out on Android. It's what does it cost? $5 on iOS. It's not cheap. Free on Android, but you get ads. I'll be honest. I'd rather pay $5 and not have an ad. On a mobile device, the ad takes up way too much space. iOS 5 rumors. I went by in the chat room. Bluetooth support in iOS 5. Support for what? Bluetooth tethering? I don't know. I'm going to have to do a search now because it went by and I didn't copy it. Chat room, what was the story on that one? Apple TV will get Bluetooth with iOS 5. Code pulled from the latest iOS 5 beta shows that Apple TV, which will presumably be an iOS 5 device, right, will support Bluetooth keyboards and the mice.
And soon after that, it will support the full iOS.
And that is a killer. I've been saying that since day one. I want apps on my by the way, that puts all sorts of additional HBO Go and all sorts of things on there.
You connect that with the iCloud, and now you're talking about every person. That's a $99 computer.
Wow.
That has access to all of your documents, all of your, you have a Magic Pad where you can move things around. You have your Bluetooth, your wireless keyboard. Then you have a $99 computer that you can access all that basic stuff. And I know a lot of people who are, like my parents and who don't really need a computer beyond what they could do on an iOS.
Is it, as Dave MacD says in our chat room, the return of web TV? Is it maybe too complex?
I don't think so.
No?
It's Apple. If you look at the times when they've built a device that we have a template for, they never do it the linear way. They never do the idea of, well, they got Apple TV. If you had a keyboard and mouse, you got a computer. Now you'll have a computer with a word processor and a web browser off your TV. They usually twist it in such a way that it makes sense within the larger ecosystem that they've built. So I could definitely see iCloud syncing where you could display a Keynote document. You could display and do quick edits to something. I could certainly see Bluetooth support for keyboards so that you could actually do searches for things inside Netflix and other apps without having to go beep, 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 beep,
well,
but I don't see the Apple TV turning into something that we would recognize as a computer.
Oh no, I don't think so. I think it'll be much more simple. I think that it'll be, but the point is, I think a lot of people, that's all they need. I don't think that they need to have. I don't even think they need this Air.
I really thought that the Magic Trackpad was designed for Apple TV. I thought that was kind of like, I'm going to have that on my coffee table, and then I can pinch and zoom and do all this stuff. That's really what I thought. Because iOS doesn't, it has an on-screen keyboard. It doesn't. Really
the other thing is, I can imagine in a business having an Apple TV with iCloud. You could have an Apple TV connected to your presentation box or whatever, and people could be uploading their presentations or whatever they want to show at an event or whatever, and simply just have access to those, all running really quickly and easily across.
And if you thought Netflix was killing the neighborhood bandwidth, coming this fall, apparently iTunes, according to a rumor, will offer 1080p movies.
Right.
That you can stream and download. 1920 by 1080, average bitrate encoding of 10 megabits.
Nice.
Meow. That's good quality.
It's a little less than half of what Blu-ray is.
Okay.
Yeah. So
but it'll enough to give you pretty good.
There'll be more macro blocks, but it'll still be great. It'll look nice and sharp.
Now, are people really going to be able to tell the difference between 1080p and 720p?
Only if you understand the word macro blocks.
Yeah, exactly. No, if you, I am quite happy actually watching 720p. I have a 50-inch in my lab, and I'm quite happy watching 720p. In fact, I'll be honest with you, the scaling software is so good that it doesn't even bother me to watch standard def. I hate to say that, but obviously it looks great when I can watch full res. But there's stuff on Netflix that isn't, and I play it. And I'm like, oh, this is fine.
Yeah, I see. There's math that says that for most screens that are in most people's homes, you really have to be sitting at a very specific golden triangle to appreciate the difference between 720p and 1080. And I've seen them. I talked to people who put this together, and I believe what they say. That said, when it came time for me to buy a new TV set, and I could either get the 720p version for $300 or the 1080 version for only $50 more. Yeah, I think I'll get the $50. I got $50. I'll get the 1080p version.
Well, and this is a question in the
people
chat
believe
room.
Big numbers.
Someone's talking about a higher bitrate 720p or a lower bitrate 1080p, and I'd rather have the 720p at higher bit. I'd rather have a 10 megabit connection, 10 megabit 720p with less damage done to the image.
You're right. That's a perfect.
And have that scaled up. I'd rather have that than the 1080p.
Me too. I download all my porn at
720p.
720p. I find it's sufficient.
Yeah.
You don't want too much crystal clarity.
Well, unless you're going to be within, I think it's 6 or 8 feet with a monitor over, and I believe it's 60 inches, you don't need more than 720p. You're not going to see it.
I think Alex missed what I said. UBS analyst Maynard it's fine. The chat room heard it. UBS analyst Maynard says that Apple, if it does make an internet-connected HD TV, or maybe just the Apple TV connected to your regular TV, could be worth 50 to 100 billion in market cap. They're already at 328 billion, the second largest U.S. company in market cap. It's worth another 30% if they can get in this lucrative TV business. Mainly because they own the ecosystem, right?
Oh man, I don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
I just don't buy it. I don't. There's so many different kinds of TVs for so many different needs, and there's so many people who just are going to look at $300 versus $499, or $380 versus $799. I think that if Apple simply says we've got this $99 box, you plug it in with one cable, and you can take
I think that's the way to go.
Buy whatever TV you want.
Yes.
Just buy our little box. You don't even have to take a look. You don't even have to
I
look
never
at
understood the idea to make a TV. Why make a TV?
Well, they're already making them. They're called the monitors. I mean, the thing is
but there's a lot of companies in this business, and look at Pioneer couldn't even make a living making TVs.
Yeah, but I guess the thing is Apple's already making a living making monitors that are so close
Are
to
they?
the TV. I mean, the iMac is. I think
Are
they're
they?
making.
You think that's a big business for them?
iMacs?
Not IMAX.
Well, an iMac
Monitors.
is.
Well,
iMac is a TV.
Well, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
got
Is
more
it's
horsepower
not.
than it needs. You give it iOS and make it a little thinner, and you already have all the manufacturing.
Yeah,
you
but
have
my
all the pieces.
27-inch iMac was $3,000. I mean, I can get a beautiful 50-inch TV for half that.
Well, but with iOS and without all the gear, you could get that down. It wouldn't be the same price, but I think it'd be a market segment. I don't think it's worth $50 billion. I think that the Apple TV going to iOS might be worth, 30 to 50 billion market cap. I don't think that the TV itself is. But I do think that Apple want to do it because they want to have control of that ecosystem.
And Andy, you think no way they're doing a TV?
I'm always prepared to be surprised, but nothing I've seen Apple do in the past 20 years tells me that they'd be so dumb as to take this big of a risk. They've got the money machine well greased up, well geared. They know that they put the few drops of little things in this end of the machine, and money comes spilling out this other end, and that doesn't come from contaminating their product line with lots of esoteric products that you have to have the exact right person coming into the store in order to buy this. And given that there's so much competition and so many people who are just going to be, so many companies are going to be able to sell the $300 TV, the $250 TV, the $219 TV. I just don't see them being competitive if they were selling something that's being sold as a TV set.
Okay, but look at this chart. I'm trying to think of where this...
I didn't know there are charts involved. Okay, I changed my...
This is actually an interesting chart, if we can parse it. It's Apple's ecosystem flow chart. And this comes from the analyst's report. This is figure 2. So you've got, in green, the stuff that Apple's doing now that's strong. In yellow, the stuff that Apple's doing that needs improvement. The hashed yellow is coming soon. I don't see any of that. And orange and red. So you see PC, tablet, smartphone. Apple completely dominates. TV, no, not so much. Cloud storage is coming on, but local storage right now. Content. And then looking at the content, music, movies, apps, and books, Apple owns. Email and chat, Apple owns. Social networking and Office Suite, nah, not so strong.
Well, okay, now where's the data coming from? Because I got to take issue with books and movies and TV.
They could certainly be stronger.
I mean, they got a bookstore, but it's not terribly competitive with the market leader.
Here's what says. This is Maynard We believe Apple will have to build its own content ecosystem out, such that a set made by Apple could be differentiated enough from content perspective to potentially lead to cord cutting. However, cord cutting is the key phrase. This is where all the value comes from. We do not believe the market is ready for cord cutting, nor do we believe the content is robust or cheap enough. So they don't need to be dominant Apple, but they need to have it to the degree that people can be willing to say, I'm going to live in the Apple world exclusively.
There's a lot of people who are happy living in the Apple world.
Well, I think that's what he means
issue.
by cord cutting is, can I cut off all my other sources of content, all my other connections, and just have Apple?
Well, the thing is that if I have... I know I'm not normal, but if I had the option to have a nice big TV that had my FaceTime built into it, and it was syncing with my iCloud, and I could check my email or things would pop up, and it was all integrated to the rest of my life, I'd find that a pretty compelling argument. I don't know if I would. I don't know if they're going to make a big TV, but I think that could be a pretty compelling argument for businesses and for individuals.
iOS 5 is now in beta 3. That's where we're hearing all this new stuff about iOS 5. If they're in beta 3, I think we're pretty close to a release candidate, Andy, don't you?
I wouldn't speculate. Remember that they have said September, and for them to advance that ship date would be just unprecedented. I don't think they would. I don't think they'd have any need to move it up. So
Test all you want, Apple.
Yeah.
Also from published reports, I think that there's still some features that have been talked about, but still haven't really appeared inside this beta yet. So
new stuff.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if anybody's written about their new messaging app appearing in this beta yet. So that's a major product with lots of infrastructure behind it, and that hasn't really turned up yet.
Yeah,
so
that's key, isn't it? Yeah.
So we're still kind of in the middle of this process. I don't think we'd be seeing Goldmaster anytime before another big release.
Goldmaster won't run until iMessenger is done.
Well,
Johnny Cochran, excellent.
Okay. New in iOS 5 Beta 3, according to Engadget, a bevy of toggles controlling location service in detail, probably a response to privacy complaints, I think. And a new switch for voice roaming in settings. Voice roaming? Well, don't we already have a switch for roaming for voice? Maybe not.
Well, there's data. Maybe it's data versus. So you can say, I still want my data network, but I don't want to have my voice.
Well, that's interesting.
Or disconnect your.
I guess the presumption's been that you're always going to want to roam the voice, otherwise it's not a phone.
Right.
So most phones
Unless
don't let you turn off voice
using,
roaming unless you're using Skype or
right.
FaceTime.
Right.
Then roam away. Are we going to ever see FaceTime in 3G or 4G?
I think so.
When? Next?
I think when they have a new iPhone that's taking advantage of it. Or iPod Touch. That was 3G.
Do you think,
data
guys, we
plan.
haven't talked about the Facebook announcement because it happened after the show last week. Do you think that what Facebook did with Skype kind of jeopardizes FaceTime? It certainly is going to have 750 million potential users right off the bat.
I hate Skype.
No, because if the Facebook video chat still isn't a mobile tool.
It's not mobile, yeah.
Remember that FaceTime. You got your phone in front of you. You got the kid in front of you. Congratulations, Grandma and Grandpa are looking at them.
No, I think that's what FaceTime's good for, and I have kids.
But I think that's what Facebook's good for too. By the way, I think that's exactly the use scenario for Facebook.
I think mathematically, I think it makes a lot of sense for them to do what they're doing. I think they had to compete also with Google Plus. I think that they have to go down that path.
Well, it's funny because I see Google Plus. I think people often, to my mind, get the wrong target. It's Google Plus to me doesn't threaten Facebook as much as threatens Twitter, and Facebook Skype doesn't go after Google Hangouts. They're two different products. It goes straight after the FaceTime market because it's for the normal user who just wants to see the grandkids. That's what Apple's use scenario is in all their ads. And that, boy, I mean, frankly, Grandma and Grandpa aren't going to be doing it on their iPhone. They're going to be doing it when they're sitting down in front of the computer or
their
TV,
which gets back into.
Well, maybe that's where FaceTime will shine.
Well, I know. I think that's I think the thing for an Apple TV that has like an Apple TV. Or an Apple TV, there is a USB slot in that Apple TV. You could connect a USB camera.
I think increasingly people have laptops with cameras on it, and that Facebook just really makes it simple to say everybody who's in my Facebook group, my friends, I can speak to them right now in video.
But I think with the average consumer, I still think that an Apple TV with a web
We've
camera.
Seen a lot of TVs now. That was a big thing at CES. Skype on the TV with a built-in camera or a add-on camera, and
Too complicated.
Well, it is too complicated.
But it won't be. I mean,
how is it less
FaceTime
complicated?
is limited.
It's the same thing as you plug in a USB camera and it's built to the TV. How's that different from an Apple TV?
Because the interaction of getting to it is simpler. And I think that is what Apple does really well, and that's what nobody else does well. I don't know. I have all kinds of stuff on my TV. I don't understand how to work it. I don't understand what to do. I kind of go through it, and then I go, I don't want to deal with this.
I think too many clicking. I think the ubiquity of Facebook. And I think the ubiquity of this video of Skype in Facebook is a game changer, to be honest.
I think it
might benefit FaceTime because it's going to get people used to video calling. I think one of the reasons FaceTime hasn't taken off is because people just haven't really gotten used to the idea of making a video call as opposed to an audio call.
Well, but I think also the problem with FaceTime is that it's not ubiquitous.
Does FaceTime AirPlay? So can I make a FaceTime call and then put it up on the big screen?
I haven't tried
that. That would be a good way to do it because then the camera and the mic are near you. But you could look at the big picture of your grandkids.
The problem is you don't get that face-to-face. Like, the distance, if you have a camera right over a monitor and you're far enough away, the
Well,
TV
I think that's the
viewing,
problem. It's like, here's the sofa. Hi, I'm back here. I mean, I think it's too much of a lean-back experience for video calls.
Yeah.
I think my problem with it.
I think that when you're looking at the primary of watching your kids or your grandkids or whatever over it, I don't think that they're not really looking at talking to
You want
the
them
person.
life-size,
They just want
too.
to see.
Yeah.
They just want to see a full screen of your grandkids
Life-size.
running around.
Right.
And I think that that's the I think there's a real opportunity there. I think that the problem, and I don't know whether I feel like Skype has been almost permanently borked. I mean, it's just like the new version is so
What?
bad.
Oh, but
and
that's the beauty of Facebook. You don't see any of that. You don't see any of the interface
Right.
stuff. It just works.
Right.
Have you used it?
No,
Well,
I haven't.
if it doesn't crash on you.
Yeah.
Remember the first thing you got to do is download a Java applet. And you know how stable Java is on just about any platform you're going to be using it on. Plus, it's running inside a browser, and you know how happy browsers are to always remain up and running 24/7.
Have you had a lot of? The first thing I did was call Andy. By the way,
Yeah, and so that was my thank you for helping me write like the first paragraph or two of the column, because I'm watching the live stream on Facebook, and just not like 20 seconds after Zuckerberg has talked about it, and now it's so simple. Even if you're not configured, you'll just click this one button, and then
First thing I did is call
Leo Laporte wants to start a cut for you. It's like, great, I'll learn about this right now. I click on the camera button, and then the entire browser just goes, no, please don't do that mean thing to me again. I had to do a force quit and redo it.
And by the way, Andy is no longer my Facebook friend, I notice. So
I don't know, friend. You've been some.
you're not on chat, probably. That's all.
I'm
it is.
just not.
So these
I'm
are
probably-
people who are online on chat that I could call right
no.
now. And if I click a button, Tom's not available. But if I click a button, I can send him a message by clicking this video camera.
And I think this really shows you what the whole point was. I don't think that Facebook particularly cares about competing with FaceTime or killing FaceTime. I don't think they're particularly concerned about Google Plus. I think that they know that they have a contained ecosystem that their users are very, very happy to get all of their social services through Facebook directly. And the fact that they have not been able to deliver video chat features to them, that was just like a gaping hole on the chart they needed to fill in. It's also no accident that in addition to adding the Skype chat feature, they've also made chat more prominent and easier to find. It's not just there's no need to hunt for it. There's now a big bar to the right hand side of your window that will instantly show you, hey, well, why just simply post something on their wall? You can just simply talk to them right now. You want to talk to them right now? We'll help you talk to them right now.
And I didn't argue. I wasn't arguing that that Facebook wanted to kill FaceTime. I don't think they're even. It's not on their radar. I think what they wanted to do was make Skype so easy to use. Video. I mean, it's just such a natural app.
It's definitely the easiest Skype.
It's amazing.
If ever there was just a really mutually helpful partnership, it's FaceTime plus Skype plus Microsoft. Let's not leave them out either.
That's right.
I do think one of the challenges they're going to get into with doing it inside of a web browser is exactly what happened to Andy, which is that doing this really media-rich stuff inside of a browser is kind of like putting a 440 engine into a Dodge Colt. The frame isn't really built for it. And I don't think that it's. I think that as people keep on pressing this, I think we're going to continue to see more and more stability issues. The reason I don't like doing a lot of heavy media in browsers is because it's less, like with Java, it's less stable. Makes me crazy.
I haven't any problems, but you're right. If it crashes a lot, that's going to discourage people.
Yeah.
I haven't had any issues with it. We're going to take a break, come back with more. Alex Lindsay is here. He is, of course, the man at Pixel Corps, pixelcorps.com, if you'd like to know more about his guild of multimedia artists who are learning and working together. I met your friend from Kenya the other day. What was his name? Mina. One of the first Pixel Corps members in 2000 or something.
Yes.
And he's just moved here with his wife, and he's working in graphic design. I mean, just so cool.
Yeah, and we're going to have a couple other African guests coming in for our training in the fall, so we're very excited.
He was great because he was a little shy because he said, I watch you all the time. I was sitting at my new 27-inch iMac in the new studio. It was really nice to meet him.
Yeah, he's
really
fantastic.
nice guy.
Yeah, he worked for the Pixel Corps for quite some time as well, and then went back to Kenya. And now is back in the U.S.
Check it out.
We're really excited to have him back.
Pixelcorps.com and all those money-losing podcasts at pixelcorps.tv.
That we love to do. So
he does it for the love of it.
We do, and the best thing to do is to follow us on Pixel Corps or Alex Lindsay, because we announce everything there. The irreverent announcements are done by me. Well, there's lots of stupid stuff that I put on my feed, so I'm just warning you ahead of time. Don't complain. And then the next podcasts, next live feeds. We're doing live feeds every Thursday at 6. So you can go to pixelscore.com/live. You'll always find it there. But we'll run the announcements on the Twitters.
And Alex is in our space. I mean, we share this new studio.
It is such a great space. The two spaces together, I think, are very because yours
is interesting. Different angles on the same idea, right?
And yours is this gorgeous. I mean, I just love your studios.
I feel like
it's
a work of art. I was so pleased by the work that Roger Ambrose did.
It is just fantastic.
To design this,
and then ours is really industrial. Well,
yours is to get jobs done.
Yeah,
it's green screen, and you have black curtains
and motion capture,
and it costs you 1/100th of what it cost me.
Well, and ours is kind of an open slate too, so that's
right.
We have to do lots of different things. Yeah,
but I wanted some physicality, so people would, it's the clubhouse.
Well, I love
get the best of both worlds that way.
I love that there's both of those in the.
We will be opening the studio on July 24th, our first show.
No pressure.
Huge pressure. We're so far off. We're having a meeting today. I might even broadcast it if we're not doing anything else. We're having a meeting today of all the studio heads. Oh, somebody's waving. Who's that waving? Is that your Chris? Look over there. He's a mystery man waving at us. I think
that's Kevin.
Oh, Kevin. Okay.
Yeah.
He came over and waved. That's the spy cam. You can go to bit.ly/.
You got a lot of work to do in the next. We can
well, we got to get our video set up. That's going to be replacing Skype for our video calls. We've got to get the video monitors, which are, big monitors on stands that we'll put around the table. So to look like Andy, look like you're actually sitting with us. It won't be next week. It'll be, if all goes well, it'll be the week after next, Andy. And instead of being in this Skypeosaurus behind me, you'll have a seat at the table, literally.
All right.
That's the table over here on the left. As you can see, cameras haven't been put in. 30 cameras. All the video drops are there. The cameras are there, but we have to manufacture, and even the stands and the holders are there. But we have to manufacture a little box to hold the power supply and the Blackmagic converter box. Each camera gets one of those. So the video has to go in. And sound isn't done. But all the lighting's up. Brent Byes finished that.
The lighting looks awesome.
And you don't see it now because it's just got work lights on, but it is gorgeous in there.
We did the live feed last week was with Brent talking about.
Oh yeah,
about
is
lighting.
that recorded anywhere?
It's going to be on YouTube. We had a little recording problem, but
I heard you yelling.
That's the one thing Leo will have to get to. I'm a little high strung in the office.
But it was good because it was kind of like a sound test. So he's over in his area, way over there, and I'm sitting in our studio, and I can hear you loud and clear. So I'm thinking maybe we're gonna have to put a little something there for those times when Alex or because I've occasionally raised my voice.
Yes,
it happens.
Yes.
Well, a thing like you do that and it doesn't get recorded. That's kind of bad.
Well, we did record it. It wasn't recorded on the Key Pros. It was recorded on a backup system.
That's what we got the backups for.
It is, but anyway, it was an amazing 2 hours with Brent talking about color theory.
I do want to see that.
Yeah, it's awesome. It'll be up on YouTube this week,
and he's done a fantastic job in this studio.
It's the only way to go.
Oh, it's amazing. Everybody has. I mean, It's funny because this is not. If I had 6 months ago when we started this project, it really realized what we were talking about, I would not have done it. But everybody has stepped up to do an amazing job. John Slanina, Burke McQuinn, Colin Weir, our studio team, amazing.
It is. Both studios are coming out much better than
we thought.
Much more expensive. They've both been,
but they're really amazing.
They're amazing studios. I think it's unique north of. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of another place that I've seen like it. It's really
Tom Merritt. Somebody in the chat room suggested I show this, and I should show this. Tom Merritt made. We're doing now on TWiT a little video. Let me see if I can launch this here somehow. A little video, kind of what's coming up in the week ahead. And Tom Merritt makes this every time for us, and he this time did it from the new studio. So. I think this is probably the first high-quality video we've shown out of the new TNT set. It's not exactly done,
hey, thanks, Leo. Here's a
but there's a little bit of a look at what it's going to look like. First of all, very high def, very clear. This isn't quite the lighting for TNT set, but it's roughly what TNT's set will look like. That there's that big X behind him, the brick wall, but there's another bookshelf. The 3 bookshelves will go in. There's a ladder across it. This is his desk.
I love the look.
I think it's just going to look beautiful.
Very wabi-sabi.
Here's a look
Yeah.
will be coming on Tech News today.
Look at that. I think it's just gorgeous. Anyway, that's just a little preview. We are over budget.
So are we. We're all over budget.
Yeah, we're all over budget. We're gonna have a meeting. I hope we can do this studio meeting on the air this afternoon with all the studio department heads saying, you know, how far they are off, because we've got to get this done. We got less than, what do we have? We have 12 days.
No pressure.
Ken Marylee's our contractor, Russell Tammany, our IT guy, Brent By, of course, for lighting, Roger Ambrose, the designer. These guys have all done an amazing job on this.
That's awesome.
And there's a few things left. We still have to do the Axia audio. You know, one of the things we did in here, we took the digital audio out of this room. We did a little brain surgery a couple of weeks ago. That's why the audio has gone downhill just a tad during our shows, because we went back to the old school analog way.
And you forgot how old school it was.
I forgot how bad it is. In fact, it caused me to spend another few $1,000s to do digital audio in my office as well as throughout the building. We were going to have Axia everywhere. But we had to buy another mixer and more boxes and stuff. That's the kind of thing that happens as it gets a little more expensive. But that was a good learning process. You know, we know we've got to do the best possible audio. So if you would like to support it, we are inviting everybody to be a permanent part of the TWiT Brick House by buying a brick. If you go to bricks.twit.tv, you can see, you know, the different bricks are available. We've got the 4x8 brick-sized brick with 2 lines of 15 characters each. You can get an 8x8 with 4 lines. You can even get an 8x8 with a custom logo. And the money goes to, we're not a nonprofit, understand. I'm not going to give you a tax break on this, but the money really does go to help pay for all of this. And as these additional costs come in, Lisa keeps saying, don't worry, we've got the brick fund. Don't worry, we've got, I don't know how much longer that's going to work. Don't worry.
It's constantly building.
But we really, the money is going to a very good cause to making TWiT better. And I want to say one thing. We're not, I think sometimes you see this and you say, oh, they're trying to get to a bigger audience or change the spirit of what we're doing. And it's not, it's exactly not what we're doing. I really know very clearly that what makes TWiT work is it's super serving you, the people who listen to MacBreak Weekly, This Week in Google, This Week in Tech, Windows Weekly, really giving you exactly what you need. This new studio will let us do a better job serving you, not reach a broader audience. That is not our goal. So the money you put into this really helps us do a better job for you long term, and we're talking for the next decade and more. So that's why it's really appreciated.
Yeah, you don't build something like this for the next couple of years.
Oh, no. I'm never doing this again. And next studio will be the next guy, because this is my studio forever now.
Right.
Famous last words, right? But no, this is it. And the brick wall is going to be fantastic. Right as you walk in, it's right on your left. You'll be in the entrance lobby, so everybody's names or logos will be visible to everybody who comes in. And it's very inspiring to see these incredible messages everybody's sending to us. So we really thank you for that, everybody who's bought a brick. And if you haven't, still a few days left. But don't delay too much, because at some point we got to put these things up. I think the first shipment of bricks is being laser etched right now. Wow. That's how they cut them. They do a little laser etching. And I think will come to us first week of August. We want to get them all in by the time we have our party. Our grand opening is August 21st. So we're hoping. We're hoping. Bricks.twit.tv is so close. Oh, my God. Andy, I hope you come out and be part of the opening.
No, I'm sending so positive vibes your way. This is I know how much stress that you're under right now. It'll be fine. It'll be great. We all support you. We're all gonna help you. It's all going to be great. And you know what? If when I visit, I find out that the Coke machines, like in the break room, are $2.50 per can, just to offset the cost, I will do that too.
No Coke machines, free Coke for you, free cane sugar Coke, always in stock in case Andy shows up. No, that's the truth.
We've got Chrysler for a few days.
We have it right here, right now, just in case. We go over here to Petaluma Market. They have Mexican Coca-Cola, which is cane sugar, and we buy only that because in case for some reason Andy just shows up, we want to have his dessert of choice.
Have a bottle set in front of me, like in front of the virtual monitor.
I will. You know what? I will. It'll be like Elijah. Who's that Coke for?
It's like a Seder. Like we keep this screen blank for Elijah.
Elijah Ihnatko.
And then wait for 5 seconds. okay, he's a no-show again. So instead, Andy Ihnatko.
Andy's head. Now, I can't wait. I don't know how that's going to look. We've done some tests, and it really is cool because so we're at a round table, and we had to figure out a way to put Skype in instead of this kind of way of doing it. We haven't built it yet, but we will have in the next 12 days built a stand with a big monitor. We decided 4x3 and not 16:9.
To put big heads?
Yeah, basically it's a big head.
I think you need mannequins.
Well, we have to size it, and we may need some help from Andy. I think you're actually just about right. We'll have to size it so your head size is roughly the same size as mine.
I got the biggest old head.
I think it'll work.
I'm going to be like that standard meter made out of like uranium that they keep in London at Greenwich Observatory. So I will be the standard like headness.
Exactly.
The standard volume based that will establish.
This is the head volume. We'll in fact have a still picture of you in the freeze frame so that people can say, "Is your head as big as Andy's?" Then you're right.
Your head must be at least this over below.
I think we also somebody was saying it will be like Sheldon in Big Bang Theory, and that's exactly right. We want it to be able to roll around.
Right.
So enough, not the first time I've been compared to Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory. Usually not in a positive way.
It won't be autonomous. You won't be able to. But we could take you with us if we decide to go somewhere.
I still think
say, come along, Andy, and we'll roll you out with us.
I think proper mannequins though, matching each person is I'm sitting there like this with a little.
Well, I said I'm not going to build a new set, but there is one thing I plan to do in my lifetime. And I've already talked to the people who can do this. Do you remember that I was a 3D character on MSNBC? Protozoa made a Silicon Graphics Onyx machine with a Protozoa software, and it generated this character DevNull that was in real time, volumetric, a character. I've talked to the guy who did this work. He says you can do it now on a PC.
I can do it.
I want to have, eventually, instead of monitors, that's just an interim. I want Andy to be a 3D, holographic 3D sitting next to us.
Okay, well, I fully support this because this means that finally I can, as a tax deduction, buy a complete set of Jedi robes. Because do you think I'm not going to do the Obi-Wan Kenobi?
So you could do it. You're right, because you've got the 3D mocap. So we'd have to have him come out here and mocap him, right?
Well, but the thing is that was you were running live to that.
This was live in real time.
And what we need to do to compot, because you're not talking about you
basically
want a 3D
what
character,
happened,
or do you want to
the way it would be is we'd want to mocap Andy and create a character, but then lip sync the character to Andy's speech.
It could be done. We'll see.
And perhaps have a puppeteer, or even have Andy be able to do it.
If Andy was in front of a green screen, we could composite him on the table.
Exactly.
Live.
Oh, so he could do it at home.
He could just be sitting there and it would look like you.
But every Tuesday, Andy would have to put dots on his head, right?
No, I'm talking about you can have Andy.
I'm not very much on hygiene.
You can just leave them there. Don't wash them off. When you go to the store, people say, you have black dots on your face, and you go, I know, it's just for the mocap.
See, and if you keep doing this with like all your regular guests, you could have like your own version of Electronic Arts NBA Jam, only with like Twit hosts instead of.
We use the Kinect.
Yeah.
Hack the Kinect. So all you would have to do, Andy, is put a Kinect instead of a camera in front of you.
It wouldn't do you'd have to do a lip sync from the phonemes for the mouth. Yeah. But outside of that, like basic motion and everything else could all be done with the Kinect.
Okay, that's phase 2. So if you buy a brick, maybe
this is part of what you're underwriting.
All this could be yours.
We get back into that whole thing like we're not really pushed by money. We're pushed by that would be really
absolutely.
Cool.
There's no revenue potential whatsoever.
I think what everybody's witnessing right here is a live demonstration of the technological Peter principle that your goals will always expand so that they're always just beyond your technological reach.
Until it looks like crap.
Right now we've got a system so that we could get high def camera, copper Ethernet, conferencing for like multiple guests, and that's actually working, which means we got to start screwing it up.
And by then there'll be bricks engulfing the entire building.
Yes, I got to start
holographic
right now to like erect the grid of like multiple tracking cameras. I have to be fitted for one of those suits.
I think we can do it.
Start buying ping pong balls.
I've been very excited by the idea, and I think Kinect might actually be the missing link.
We do have to build a virtual Leo and a virtual Andy. Like
basically every host would create they'd have to come out, do the mocap in your studio. Right. And what we need to do is create software that allows us to animate that using Kinect. I think Kinect is sufficient.
Yeah, I really am thinking right now, do I know anybody at LucasArts who could like do a Clone Wars version of me? Because if I'm going to be virtual, I want a Clone Wars Jedi version of me.
Well, absolutely. I mean, one of the advantages is costuming is easy.
Think of like young Obi-Wan's beard. Think this is going to look great, like rendered like that.
Furthermore, If anybody says anything I don't like, I hit the button and they blow up.
Nice.
Or I could have an ejector seat. John C. Dvorak, you're full of it. Out of here. Boom. Foo.
But I warn you, Leo, if you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
We're going to take a break, come back with our picks of the week. Andy Ihnatko is also here from the Chicago Sun-Times, a foil for all of my evil plans. The man with the mutton chops. I just love the people who do this show. It's so much fun. They're visionaries. Hey, let me tell you, if you're a freelancer, there's a very, very bad thing that happens at the end of every month. It's called invoice time. And as a longtime freelancer, it was always the worst day of the month. I frankly get to the point where I just wouldn't do invoices. And, of course, you don't do an invoice, you don't get paid.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. Then I found FreshBooks. I found it in 2004. One of 2 million people who have since used FreshBooks to do their invoicing. I uploaded my logo. I was able to make very professional-looking invoices. By the way, not just email invoices. They'll also, for an additional fee, print, stamp, and mail your invoice. So some of the older clientele, I do that too, just to make sure. But the beauty of doing the paperless invoice, the email invoice, is there's a button on it that says Pay Leo Now. And they can use a credit card, PayPal, authorized on 11 payment gateways in total, to absolutely streamline this transaction. You could even do it in such a way that the invoices are automatic if it's the same amount every month, and the payment is automatic. A lot of clients, it's not the problem is not paying you. They have the same resistance to doing, bills as you have to doing invoices. It's just something they don't look forward to.
And you got to make it easy.
Make it easy for them to pay, and they will pay you faster. It's absolutely true. If they don't pay, hassle-free invoice follow-up. You know exactly which clients owe you, how much, and you can automatically set it up. They call it the butler to send late payment reminder emails automatically. The invoices look really good, really professional. You can even do time and hours, time and expenses in there if you bill that way. They have an iPhone app, iPad app. They also would have a web app that works anywhere, and all the hours are automatically just sent right into the invoice. Really saves time. I just love it. I want you to try it right now. Go to freshbooks.com. It's free for the first 3. So your first 3 clients forever are free. If you have more than that, it's very affordable, up to 25 clients for just $20 a month. Give it a try. Freshbooks.com. Sign up for that free account. And every week, FreshBooks is giving away a birthday cake to one of our audience members. It doesn't have to be your birthday to win the cake. Make sure you tell them you heard it on MacBreak Weekly. Freshbooks.com. They're just the greatest. Let's get our picks of the week, starting with Mr. Andy Ihnatko.
I have one main pick and one incidental pick that I just realized. One of the biggest hassles, whether you are traveling just down the street to work in the coffee shop or you're traveling all the way across the country and the world for the next 3 weeks, is all the little bibs and bobs you have to take with you in order to keep your devices running. And you got power bricks, those are big and bulky, and you got little styluses, and those are tiny. You got like memory cards, and there's just no way to really keep them in your bag and keep them organized so that when you need to get like the little tiny USB adapter for your memory cards for your iPad, you can find that thing without having to take out a bag and dump it out like grandma's purse and spread things out. I came across this awesome system. It's called Gridit. There's a company called CocoonInnovations.com. They make the system called Gridit. And so basically, it's the cleverest thing in the world because all it is like a pad of like nice back and seam nylon, and on top of it is a grid of straps. It's just like a lattice with gaps here, there, and everywhere. Ooh. And so you are simply free to simply like stick things inside these loops wherever you want them to go. And it works so exceptionally well. They come in various sizes. This one is the perfect size to slip into either of like the little gadget pockets of my laptop bag. It also fits perfectly inside my iPad bag. And now whenever I want to grab my headphones, whenever I want to import a video or something into my iPad, I don't have to fumble for it. I just pull out this one thing and it's right there. It's so good that after I bought the first one, I wound up buying 2 more. They make I also the second most important one in my life is this one. Ooh, there you go,
Giant Andy.
Giant Andy.
That's what we need.
Exactly. This is your future, MacBreak viewers. I am the moth, I am the flame, and you are the moth. You are powerless before me. Buy my books, I say. But on top of everything else, it's great for these short haul trips, but also when I have the one that's like 8.5 by 11, it's like a big, it's a big full size pallet, and
that's the grid, right?
They're all called the Grid.
Oh, okay.
They're just available in different sizes. This is the one that's good for my little day
mini
trips.
grid, yeah.
And right. The ones that are big enough that they can really hold. This has got the charger for my camera, for my phone. It's got every cable that I need. It's got every little tripod accessory I need. Every little like my little camera flash. And the last thing I do when I pack my bag, because I usually travel carry-on, is just put this flat thing nicely organized right on top of my bag, which has a two-pronged effect. Because usually when I travel, especially if I'm gone for more than a few days, I'll unpack at the hotel and say, okay, so here's an iPhone sync cable, and here is another iPhone sync cable, and here is a third iPhone sync cable, because I have this little mesh bag that would just throw things in. And as I'm packing, I'm thinking, oh God, I hope I didn't. Well, okay, let's just put another one in there. I'm sure that there's one in there already, but just in case. With this system, you can, before you close your bag, you can see exactly what you have, and you don't bring duplicates. But it also means that when the TSA puts that through your scanner, everything is flat, and it's right on the top there. So everything will image and shadow just perfectly, and they'll be able to see it. So they're available in different sizes. This one is something like $12. The larger ones are 15 to 18. Just buy the small one experimentally, and boy, just like me, you'll be placing another order pretty soon because it just works so exceptionally well. And the second thing is because they happen to be in here. There's something that I also recently bought. Griffin Technology, one of my favorite tech companies, because they are not afraid to do things that are just barking mad because it seems like a good idea, and they'll put it out there, and maybe it'll be a success, maybe it'll be a failure. But at some point, someone had a conversation in a conference room that said, "Okay, I just got to totally see what that would look like if we actually built it." This is a 3-pack of USB cables that they sell. That work obviously really well for travel. For like $20-25, you get a USB to iPod connector, you get a USB to micro USB connector, and a USB to mini USB connector. So with these three little things like inside your pack here, you now have the ability to charge and sync and copy and mount just about anything you could possibly encounter, and you'll never be in a spot where, yep, this would not be a problem if I had thought to bring a micro USB cable, but I did bring just the mini USB cable, so I'm pretty much screwed. Oh well, lesson learned. But with this, it not only is it no longer that it needs to be just to get the job done, the fact that it is so specific to just being out of the house, you sort of short-circuit the problem that I normally have in keeping one of these in my bag. You know how it works, where at some point you need to you're home, you need to charge something up. You can't immediately find the micro USB cable you normally use. You know that the only one but you know for a fact there's one inside your laptop bag. You're not really going to rob your laptop bag to get the little 3-inch one here. So these ones tend to stay exactly in your travel kit. So these are two things that they instantly became like my favoritist of favoritist things, just to keep technology organized. And let's also praise the Gridded again. I love these things where this technology is not brand new. The idea of having elasticated bits of rubber that could be sewn onto something, we've had that technology since the Apollo program, but it only took recent days for someone to think, hey, you know what, if you sort of arrange these in sort of a grid pattern, then you could actually dig this into a really handy sort of cable organization tool. We should build one of those.
I just bought one of each.
Yeah, literally while you were talking.
No, while you were talking, I bought one of each. I was like, I don't know what size I need, so I'm just going to get them all, and then we'll figure it out.
Yep.
And I think that what these are going to actually end up is standardized. We have this problem with wrangling cables in our supply kits. You know, where there's a whole bunch of stuff that's really carefully organized, and then there's just a pile of cables, they're in a bag, usually like an Eagle Creek bag, but it's not. I need everything to have its place, and that's perfect.
Your picks of the week, Mr. Alex Lindsay.
I have a couple.
Well, you guys are overdoing it. All right, I'm just going to back off, and I won't do one and let you guys each do two.
So, I was talking earlier about sound effects.
Yes. Are you going to make noises?
I'm not going to make the noise. It's going to make the noise. Or hopefully it'll make the noise.
Bloop. I heard a bloop. Wait a minute. That was Andy.
So,
gotcha.
So this is...
That's a Halo you're playing right there.
This is... no, this is not Halo.
It's not?
This is... Let's see here. This
No, it's Marathon.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, it was my iPad pick of the week on...
oh, there you go.
I love it. I
So
love it. So can you turn it up?
It's free. I was trying to figure out
It's
why
not making
it's
any noise. Do you have the mute button on?
I don't know.
Because it's really fun. I love Marathon. It is a pick.
I don't know
It's
why.
a great pick.
Anyway, so it's...
I don't know how we can show this to the camera, but here, hand it over to me. I can show it to the camera. It is. If you remember playing Marathon,
Yeah.
classic game.
And we even did a group like MacBreak marathon where we brought down the entire like online network.
so
to
much
play.
fun.
So one of the things that
HD mode is a replacement. Oh,
so now you're able
So
to
you're-
start upgrading. They're starting to sell stuff.
they're starting to sell, so you can upgrade the quality.
It's free.
Look at this.
Did I say it's free and it's the classic? And to be honest with you, I don't need the graphics to be any higher res.
Do you like the?
You know?
Oh! How do I shoot?
the red button there. Red button. There you go. Boom.
You know who you do need the better graphics on is the enemies.
Yeah, but the
They're
old
kinda
alpha
blop-
channels
they're
are
kinda
really
bloppy.
the old alpha channels are a little rough.
But when
I
they
admit.
blow up, they're suitable.
Yeah. So, but it's fun. And now what? Of course, everybody is asking is when are we going to get network play? Because Marathon,
that was
I
what
still
Marathon
think
was all about.
Yeah, I mean, this is all fine, and it's good to get. It's good for you to get good at the weapons and everything else. And I think there's an obligatory like we have to make some kind of story with the game, but really all you want to do is
Is this the original Marathon?
This
I mean,
is the original
game,
Marathon.
right?
This is Marathon 1. And it's now this was open source by Bungie a long time ago, so it was being made
and
available.
it really is
and updated.
Halo. I mean, if you
This was the original Halo.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the
I hate it when the colloquy gets in the way. It's very hard not to have colloquy interrupt you all the time.
So yeah, it is. So the thing is, I know that they have to be working on networking because I think they have to know that that's what everybody wants. Right. And this is going to be, I think this is going to be a massive game when.
How do I get under here? Can I squat?
You have to hit a button. There's a button there somewhere that you have to hit. No, you have to. I think you.
How do I hit buttons?
I think you have to.
Is
I
there
can't
a button
remember. I just got it. No, those are all just paint. They're not buttons. Anyway, so
am I making everybody at home sick?
Yeah,
by,
exactly. So the
head bob.
So anyway, so definitely check it out. It's free. Here's my other one.
It's iPad.
It's on the iPad.
Yep.
And it's awesome.
What's your other one?
So we were talking about iPhone cases. This is the best iPhone case I've ever used, and it's
Which
actually
is
part
it?
of a kit.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got a story about that. But go ahead and finish.
Okay, so this is the
It is
the
an
gimbal.
amazing case. Yeah,
This is the gimbal. Okay,
Yeah.
so here's what it is designed for. It's designed for, okay, you got a tripod, and you take this tripod. Let me see. There we go. You take this tripod like this, and then it pops out, and it's the best tripod that has been made. I mean,
This is from Ubiq. YOUBIQ.
And check this out. So you pop this in, and now what you have is you can either have it like this or like this, and it suspends your camera over top of the nodal point or close to it, not exactly.
So it's good for panos.
So if you want to do panos, and to be honest with you, it actually works. Their software is a little wonky, but with photosynth, it's amazing.
Which is our favorite.
Anyway, but as just a tripod, it's awesome. Now this is the Pro version, and here's what the Pro version. Number one, it's black, which is better.
Much pro.
Black
much
is
more
better.
pro.
And number two is that it. So and remember, this all folds up. So you can
Hand
fold.
it
you
to
can
me
fold this
again. Hand it to me.
Fine.
Wait a minute. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll put you and camera there.
Right, and then you'll show it. Oh, look at that. We're getting high tech.
No, that won't.
We're getting rid of Andy. Andy is
Andy.
bitter.
He's giving me a
He's like, don't take me away. So anyway,
I'm trying to guess your card right now.
So anyway, then here's
that's the handle.
Now this is one that you can just put on a tripod. So this is what the Pro one does: is it includes this extra little bit. That now both of these have 1/4-20 mounts in them, so you can actually screw this to the top of a tripod. So if you want to add it to a tripod, now what's great is if you want a tripod quickly. A lot of times there's like trying to attach stuff to your iPhone when you want to put it on a tripod. Well, now you have a case. You have a case that is built for it. So you leave it in the case, and anytime you want to pop it on a tripod, it's like
the case has this
slam
notch.
bam, and
it just
you're able
slides right
to,
into
it just
the
slides
notch.
right into the notch. the crazy thing is that the case is better than any case I've had for my iPhone. By itself, without the tripod, and the tripod is great. So the tripod is great. You can put it. I have it in my Scotty vest. You know, like one of the pockets is like the tripod pocket, or in my thing, and so you can. You got it in kind of a wonky way.
I got wonked. But
so anyway, but the
you get the idea.
But it's
very solid.
It's a very and the thing is, you can feel the quality of build is very, very high.
Right.
When they came out, they were a little bit more expensive, and I think that a lot of us said, that's really great. It's too much.
Yeah.
And so now it is the Pro version, I think, is $99, and the consumer version without the quarter 20 and the extra piece and not black is $69. And I just have to say that at that price, I think at $149 and $99, I think it was a little pricey. At $69 and $99,
it's well worth
given
it.
the quality of the build, given what if you're looking for a tripod, and what's great is you have a little tripod that can attach to a big tripod with the Pro one. I would get the Pro one. I wouldn't get the. I mean,
because of it's got the thread.
It's got the thread, so you can just pop it onto any tripod. So now you have a camera mount, a tripod mount for any tripod.
That's a good point.
And a nice little tripod, and as I said, the best iPhone case that I have.
Well, I'll tell you how good this iPhone case is.
Yeah, what do you like about the case? Assume that no one has ever that someone is never going to use it on a tripod.
Fair question.
No, it is solid. It's very solid, and there's something about that little lip that I really like. It's just really comfortable to hold.
I'll tell you what I like about the case. You can't get the damn thing off. So I was demonstrating this on the Daily Gizwiz, and we had people in the audience. I didn't have my iPhone 4, so somebody lent me his iPhone 4. I put it in the case. I had to give him the Gimbal Pro because I couldn't get the phone. By the way, Jeff is calling in case you want to talk about it. I couldn't get the phone out of the case. And so one of our fine viewers is now the owner of a Gimbal Pro.
Right.
I couldn't. So can you figure out how to get it out of there? Because
Oh yeah, you can do it. I've done it.
All right.
You just have to pull hard.
In my haste. Yeah, he got it out. I just couldn't.
But you can't be afraid of breaking it. It really won't break. So if they had a battery version of that, it would be the absolute perfect case.
Well, Jim Levine now has of Brooklyn, New York, now has his very own Gimbal Pro.
It's awesome. Anyway, that's my pick.
It really reminds me that I was just thinking about this this morning, that I wonder why case manufacturers, people make cases for the iPad and the iPhone, they're so afraid to make a case that goes on and attach that holds together with screws. I usually have two complaints about these cases. Either they are, like you said, impossible to get off once you put them on, or once you put them on, they don't really fit very snugly, or they don't fit like very integrally. I am perfectly happy that the time I need to take it out to service it or put it into something else, I will simply have to, at that point, have to get a little screwdriver in order to take it apart. As long as it's just screwdriver 1, 2, 3, 4, good. Case pops off. There's a little gasket there, so it's held together really, really well. And also, I like the look of screws. I think they look cool.
Have you looked at the Element cases? I believe they actually screw on, and they're like made out of titanium. They're pretty hardcore.
I'll take titanium if there's no carbon fiber. I want carbon fiber screws that splinter when you twist them, but still you can say these got carbon fiber screws, man.
I have, since you guys now have done 4 picks, I think, I'm just going to do not a pick, but just a thank you, first of all, to OpenX, who gave you this, Alex Lindsay, to hand off to me. We've talked about OpenX many times on the Daily Gizwiz. This is the solution to those blister packs that you can't get open. It's basically an X-Acto knife, but with a shield on it that you can slide in, and then it has a little protruding blade, but it's spring-loaded, so it's much safer. And for some reason, it has the MacBreak Weekly logo on it. I don't really understand
Robert Lloyd Lewis is a big MacBreak fan. So he invented it.
Yeah, no, I know.
He's a producer.
And we've done this many times. Oh, he's a producer.
He's the producer for Dexter.
He's the Dexter guy?
Yeah, he's the Dexter guy.
Well, no wonder.
So I was down there and he showed it to me and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a huge complaint I have about blister packs. I can never open them.
Well, we've talked about it many times on the Daily Gizwiz, and Dick uses it all the time. MyOpenX.com. So, but I didn't.
And Andy, I have one for you. He sent one with me, and I have one. In case you're wondering, if you forget to take it out, it will go through TSA, but I wouldn't suggest it.
It will go through TSA.
I forgot to take it out of the bag.
And you had to explain it.
No, they didn't. They didn't ask.
They didn't ask. Well, you couldn't. It's kind of that's the beauty of this is you can't really hurt anybody. And if they see this, you couldn't even really. I mean, you could cause a scratch with that. Yeah. But boy, I tell you, if you have blister packs, great solution.
You scrape it once and pull it over it.
So that's something you can all get at myopenx.com. But then this is something you can't get that the chat room is going crazy over. And I look forward to seeing this when they release it. If you go to personamail.info. 3 Danish guys have created what they say is the future of email.
There's a new email client for Mac that focuses on simplicity and on the human touch.
But you can't get it.
Persona organizes emails by people.
So I figure they've either got a really good video,
by conversation,
or we're all going to be excited about this soon. So I just wanted to send people to this website. You can watch the video.
Keep in touch with her friends,
it's a new way of thinking about email, which I agree is probably more sensible.
She likes to use the people view, which organizes emails by their sender.
However, I have to point out, I think email's dead. But
she now wants to share a video with
if you're going to still use email, personamail.info for more information.
Yeah, we're trying to kill it off.
I think it's got to die.
I mean, we're using we're a mixture of for a lot of my communications with everyone, it's like Twitter and Facebook and
Mike Elgin is doing
Chatter internally.
Mike Elgin has announced he's no longer going to respond to email, and a number of I think MG Siegler is also doing this from TechCrunch.
Not only that, I think they might have been inspired by a University of North Carolina professor by the name of Paul Jones. He's a friend of mine who decided to go on the no email policy. And doesn't mean that he's a Luddite, that he's rejecting communications. It's just that he realizes that there's so many much better electronic communications networks that
these guys all seem to be using, as you said, Twitter and Facebook social networks. But one of the reasons that I think MG and Mike decided to do it now is they have fallen in love with the Google Plus system, and because Google Plus makes it very easy to send mails to anybody,
it's just hard to get anybody actually into it.
Well, now I don't know if I guess if you're not on it.
My problem. So they
have invites now,
I know. I've tried, but
and not only do they have invites, but
they actually work.
They're growing very fast. Okay, it's estimated they'll have 10 million users by the end of the week.
Because we run all the kind of day-to-day comments of what's going on in the company is all run through Chatter. And
I think this would replace that. Actually, it's got the groups. Anyway, I'm not putting in a plug for Google Plus by any means. I'm mostly saying I can't wait to get rid of email.
My problem with Google is I always get confused. There's like too much stuff. I just want it to be like
Google Plus. Well, I'll show you how to use it.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I'm just not a very smart
guy. It does beg the question of if I have to show you how to use it, how effective is it going to be? I don't think it's that difficult.
Okay,
Andy, you're pretty prolific on it. I see you a lot on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to. I really think that I'm sort of navigating to a world in which I'm going to be having to use Twitter, Google Plus, and my blog as like the 3 bears. Where Twitter's the baby bear for just like quick links and quick like quips. Google Plus is for those things that 2 or 3 paragraph ideas, and when I want to write something that's really at length, that is so in depth that the implications that you're probably going to want to tap the Instapaper button and save it as an ebook, that's the stuff I'm going to use the blog for, because it's so easy and so natural, and you get or at least in this early stage of people where almost everybody on this service is somebody that I know or know someone that I know. It's amazing that I post something and immediately get like 30 or 40 responses.
Huge engagement.
Because it's not that you want the attention, but you write something so that hopefully other people will see it, and so that's sort of
I do like it a lot better than Facebook, I have to say.
Yeah, it's more of a Twitter killer than a Facebook killer, but it has some very interesting features in terms of filtering and so forth that maybe make it.
I still think the magic of Twitter for me is the simplicity that I just don't have.
Well, I'm kind of with Andy. I'll keep the blog, I'll keep Google Plus, and I'll keep Twitter. I think you're right, Andy. There's 3 different use cases for each. So maybe it is Facebook that's going to hurt the most from this. You certainly don't need Facebook at this point, unless you want to hang out with family members who aren't yet using this kind of thing.
No, like Facebook's role is always going to be that it seems to be the one that all my nieces and nephews and all my sisters use. So that's the one that will always be. Oh, so my nephew got married last week. It's so nice to find out, along with 8,000 other people that you shared with. But that's okay.
But I think the lesson also though is that I think the MySpace lesson is that everybody's using it right now, but a lot of times those connections. My daughter was only using MySpace, and there was some point where MySpace wasn't cool anymore.
Right.
It was gone.
Right.
Alex, can I ask you one question before we sign off? is the Element case, Black Ops case, is it nearly as awesome as it looks like on the picture?
It's pretty awesome.
Because if so, I might have to save $150 and buy one. It looks pretty dangerous. I like it.
I think one of the things that they fixed that was a problem in the first round of these when I was testing them was that they, I mean, these are the most gnarly looking cases ever made. And they're just machined. It's machined. Now one of the problems at the bottom was that you couldn't get your standard USB connector to pop in there, but I think that they fixed that now.
Yeah, it looks like, I would also wear. It looks like the headphone jack at the top looks like it's kind of hidden by the case a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely. But you put them in and you screw them in and you feel like the thing is now become like some kind of futuristic tank.
You feel like it will stop a bullet if you put it in your shirt pocket.
Right, and these are really they're not like mass produced. They're like hardened. I mean, they're machined, pieces. It's quite a piece of artwork.
I'm showing a video. Is this is the case, right? They're going to show the case.
I don't know. I haven't seen this.
I think they're going. That's what they're going. If not, I apologize for the.
Did you have Safe Search turned off when you did the search, Leo?
No, there it is. See, there's the case.
Oh, there you go.
Apparently, that was just a long way around of showing that this case is tough. BuyMeAnIPhone.com, as I guess the reviewer. So this was a review. All right, I get it.
I think so. Someone had this.
That's what I call a serious review.
Frankly, this is the real problem with YouTube: is that you do a search for Black Ops Elements case.
There it is,
and you get this.
Complete with 223.
See, no, just like I said,
I'm scared that you recognize that ammo. To be honest with you.
I'm looking for an excuse to buy Obi-Wan Kenobi robes and write it off. This guy wanted to be able to buy a whole bunch of SWAT gear and write it off as a reviewer's expense. Now he has a gun, and he has a helmet, and he has ammunition.
What is he doing? I think he's going to shoot the case. I think he's going to shoot it. I don't know.
I'm now scared.
Well, we'll just have to leave that to...
you have to go to YouTube.
This is an exclusive first look from BuyMeAnIPhone.com if you want to know more. I hope the guy gets an iPhone because his other hobby is a little scary.
Well, because he has a gun, so he can pretty much get whatever he wants.
Yeah,
he was smart. He was smart to buy the gun before the phone case and the phone, because with the gun he can pretty much take care of everything.
What is Meanwhile, Darth Vader is still dancing. So we thank you all for joining us, and we invite you to get back to work because, my friends, break time is over.